everybody. Welcome to Frame Trap. I am your host, Brad Ellis. I'm joined by Michael Huber.
Hello.
Daniel Bloodworth.
Yo.
And Michael Damiani.
Yo.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. Lots of games, lots going on. Good Lord, the wave is here.
Yeah.
People are drowning.
Knee deep in the dead.
Knee deep in the dead.
The dead?
It's a Doom campaign, Blood.
Doom. Really hope we get another
He was
one.
playing Proteus last night.
Yeah. It's on the mind. It's on the mind.
Proteus?
Proteus, bro.
One of the most fun game titles to say.
Proteus.
Only if you say it like that, though.
Yeah.
All right.
Proteus.
Show's packed, so let's just hop right into it. It's time. God of War Ragnarok.
Right at the top.
It is here. I've beaten it. You've beaten it.
Yeah.
Damiani and Blood have played some.
Yeah, I think I'm halfway-ish.
Halfway-ish.
Nice.
But before we get into it, of course, review copy provided by PlayStation.
Yep.
I know Blood was waiting for that.
Gotta put that text on the
Gotta
screen.
put it-
All the fun
Yeah.
nonsense. Yep.
But
Just get like a little sign we can just hold up.
yeah. Like, yeah.
That's true.
Or we just have like an audio recording of Jones saying it or something. We just hit.
Yeah.
Like a soundboard. Boop. Huber, let's talk about it first.
Let's
Since
do it.
You reviewed it.
Yes.
Quick, just like, just talk to me a little bit about this.
God of War Ragnarok, freaking epic video game.
Yes.
Is what it is.
Epic.
It's got to be one of the most like anticipated games in quite a long time.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would say so.
especially right now, we're filming this on a Tuesday. It comes out in hours. They didn't do the midnight launch. It was like it comes out tonight at like 6 p.m. or something weird.
Oh, really?
6 or 8 o'clock, or it comes out tonight. People have been like counting down
Yeah.
on social media and everything. So, the fever is there, loving the hype. And it's bigger in pretty much every single way.
Yeah, I'd say so.
From the first game.
Variety, movesets,
more
environments,
characters, enemies.
more characters, yeah.
Yeah, so just bigger in every sense of the word. And I think what stood out to me the most with it is just like the density. How dense it is. Just like non-stop lore and conversations, and you're getting like upgrades all the time, and there's always something to like pull you in a direction. There's always something to do or like something to discover, or someone is saying something that like maybe makes you stop and think for a second. Like, let me ponder that. Like, that kind of throwaway comment from a character. Like, let me just sit with that for a second.
Yeah.
And think about that. I love those moments, those quieter
There's
moments.
a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. This game, like you said, it's more of everything. It's also longer than the first game, too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, I don't know our comparisons or whatever,
Yeah.
but it's like definitely meatier in every way.
Yeah. I always get so hung up. It's just like the review process and all of it is like so
Demanding.
torturing for me personally, because like even when the review's done, it doesn't. I keep thinking about it, and I just have this like PTSD almost, where it's like freaking like I think of like The Last of Us Part 2, and like just that process where the focus becomes about like not the 9 or the 9.5, but like the focus becomes like the minus 0.5, or like what didn't you like, the like negatives always become the focus. Like, so I always like wrestle with that, and I like psych myself out. But yeah, just because like some of the negatives, like you were saying, I bring that up because like it is bigger in a lot of ways. And, like, for me, at some parts, it did drag a bit, just because there are so many characters.
Yeah, there's a lot.
You're kind of starting and stopping with a lot of characters, not to get into any story details whatsoever. But like, there's a lot, even with exploration, you'll go to a new area. It's like, all right, starting again, like starting to clean out this area.
Blood.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about it right now?
Well, I think what he's saying about those moments that drag, like I was having this a section of the game like that last night, to where it was like really weird, because on the one hand, I'm getting these insane lore drops.
Yes.
Like stuff what we'll do not talk about stuff. And it's like very intriguing, very interesting. But on the other hand, I did sort of like have this feeling of like I'm sort of a little bored right now. And I think that like it's weird because I think that like a lot of, not the whole game, but a lot of the game, like the level design sort of feels like it has me a little bit on a leash. To where like, okay, we're gonna go through this area and we're gonna talk while we go through it, and you know, and some of the stuff is cool, and they're gonna learn things about the world and what all is going on, and like it's, like looking up like what's over my head is like really freaking amazing. But at the same time, is like I'm still sort of on this leash of like, okay, this is the walking, talking part of the game. Whereas I feel like when we get into some of the side questy areas, both in like Svartalfheim, and then there's like a desert area later on, where I'm just sort of like, okay, I can just go check out this kind of big open circle, essentially.
Love that stuff.
And I felt a little bit more of that freedom and that ability. Is like, I can check this out or I cannot check this out, but I'm not like just sort of like, okay, you know, I'm tethered to, you know, whatever the story wants me to do right now.
Yeah. Damiani, I know, so you didn't play 2018. You played some of the other God of Wars, though, didn't you?
I played all the old ones.
All the older ones. Okay, so you didn't play 2018. But you've been playing this also, and when Blood was talking about stuff dragging and being maybe boring, I saw you had a smirk on your face.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I didn't know this was actually longer to the first one.
Yes.
And I thought that was, from my understanding, the first one I thought was pretty long based on what you had said.
Yeah.
So this being longer, I mean, I just have a lot of questions.
Long is in like 20, 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have a lot of questions for the two of you who finished the game at this point, for someone who wants to compare. I mean, Blood gave his opinion here that it feels some parts drag, but, I mean, do you think everything was, like, worthwhile in there? Or were there some parts you kind of wish, like, maybe that didn't need to be in there, like, with its length? Or do you think it was... You couldn't skip any of that?
I still wrestle with it.
Okay.
You know, I'm honestly still wrestling with it because I love it all. You know what I mean? I love all of it, and I just try to think about like, you know, all narrative type mediums or video games in general. Like it can't just be 30, 40, 50 hours of nonstop, like 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. You know, so. Like, there's got to be those quieter moments. Like, that's natural. So I still kind of wrestle with it. I think the main thing for that aspect was just, like, overall, the narrative just didn't hit me as hard, you know?
Sure.
So, like, I love the quiet moments. I love long-form storytelling, you know? Longer the better for me. Like, let's just settle into the characters rather than the plot. But I think... since I didn't connect fully with it all, that's why the issue is kind of compounded of kind of the dragging of it.
That gets into a little bit of the pacing, because Blood talked a little bit about some parts felt kind of like he was being strung along, but then you said there was like a later area where it felt a little bit like more open and he could explore. So I'm curious about the structure of this game, and not necessarily just the pacing, because I know so I did play some of 2018. I've got maybe like 25% through the game, judging from what you guys have told me in the past. There's that like central area you eventually get to, and then there are the different realms. Is it still structured like that, or is it
kind of
gone in different directions?
It's like there's those big open areas, but there's not just the one anymore.
Okay.
Like there was the lake in the first one. Now there's like multiple different places kind of thing.
Yeah, but whereas like I'd say in 2018, it felt like that was the centerpiece of the game.
You would use
that's
that to travel.
That's not the
really
feeling
the case
in this one,
time.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's like you have like a lot of levels that are kind of like, you know, like a winding road with some like side paths, and then it kind of loops back around to the beginning or whatever.
Okay.
But not everything is branching out from like a big hub. Those sort of hub areas, at least the two that I've seen so far, are sort of like, okay, here's the story, here's the hub area to go like do some exploration.
Yeah, it's always that. You like do story in there, you're in this hub area, and they're like, well, we can explore if you want. They always like say that to each other. We can go do this, or we can explore right now. So you get
Okay.
that quite a bit.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about, is if they went even like heavier, further with the exploration part.
They did.
If they feel a little bit more open, or
Just more of it, I guess,
More of
yeah.
it, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good way. So going with that stuff, from what little I've played of of Ragnarok,
Yeah.
fidelity wise, still even playing in performance mode,
Yeah.
the beginning, familiar area. You're starting in a familiar area in the beginning of the game. We already talked about it in our impressions. I thought it looked fantastic. Does that fidelity hold up throughout the rest of the game?
Yeah,
it has
And
good-
and like
Yeah.
one of the complaints about games, sometimes setting dictates that you can't get too varied in what you're showing because it's confined to a certain location. Though Blood said a desert, so I'm like, oh, a desert? I was like, so are the locations pretty varied, or is it
Yes.
still
Yeah.
kind of like okay,
Yes.
cool? That's what I was
Totally.
hoping for.
More so.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, like we don't want to get into location spoilers yet,
yeah.
but it's like the area I went through last night was very cool and very creative.
Yeah. Some very good.
Yeah, like we said, like honestly, this is just not in a bad way. It's more of 2018's God of War. It's like,
Yeah.
here's what you knew from God of War. Now we're just gonna kind of blow it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
and
Feels really
I
similar.
like what, because again, the realms are the same realms, but because of Fimbulwinter,
Yeah.
that's changed things.
Mm-hmm.
And also, places where you might have felt like, well, I didn't really get to see a whole lot of that realm.
That's
you
cool.
actually see different areas.
I like stuff
but
like
you
that,
also
yeah.
kind of cross a little, just enough into the old areas to where you recognize it. So it's pretty cool that way.
Does that benefit you for veterans, like in terms of familiarity? Like you still
like level layout?
keep keeping
No.
track? Okay, so no.
No,
Oh, so it
not
doesn't even
really.
give you
No,
that.
it's not like a
I didn't know if there's
layout
any
thing,
like that,
no.
like nice feeling. Like at least I got my bearings. I don't know. Sometimes it's cool.
It's not really like that.
Okay. No, that's good to point out. So set pieces.
Yeah.
This game starts off with like an action sequence, and you've seen it in the trailers. Does tell me about those, if without spoiling too much. I want to know about do they get?
I don't want to talk about those.
Are they good? Like, did they, are they like? Are they like?
Yeah.
Are there too many of them? Are there just the right amount?
I don't think there's too many.
Okay,
Yeah.
because
I mean, the name like Ragnarok comes with expectations.
okay.
You know what I mean? So like, I don't think you could ever have too much with a name called
Okay.
Ragnarok. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's-
fair.
I'm just saying it's not like wall to wall
Well,
stopping and
That's what I'm
walking
getting. I guess
back.
I'm getting to like the pacing here. Do you think like they're
Yeah, it's not-
appropriately placed?
Yeah,
like
it's
they're
not going like 100 back down to 0
Yeah.
frequently.
I the only thing I'll really say about it is like the game is very character driven.
Yeah.
Like, it the characters are the focus and the conversations in them, rather than like wall to wall chaos.
Yeah, I'll say
Nice.
there are moments when you like actually get to have some meals with everybody around the table
Oh, sick.
and
bonds.
just love it. I love it. The conversations that happen there are pretty good.
Food look good. I haven't seen food in the game
Yeah,
yet.
actually,
Okay,
it does. It actually, it's good,
Yo,
good looking food.
Food, hey, it's like one of the things you got to keep track of,
Yeah.
man. Everyone's trying to one up their food game, and this.
Yeah.
So I have
It's not Final Fantasy 15 level
Yeah.
food,
Hey,
but
I
it's
don't know
pretty
if
good.
it's I don't know if it's Resident Evil 2 burger good.
okay. Some places they spend the budget in the wrong places, but it can be memorable.
Yeah.
The last thing I have in my mind, because I could see this is like the biggest question a lot of people coming into this are going to ask and are looking from out of the reviews, but also looking to the bigger question like GOTY debates.
Yeah.
When they're trying to pick apart, the top contenders.
Definitely.
I see, unfairly or not, the criticism I can see people falling into with this game is it just more of the same from 2018, just bigger and better, or is it like taking any kind of risk? Or is it playing it a little safe?
I'd say a little of both.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get into like a little slight spoiler section here later, which will probably answer that question a little bit.
Okay.
But it's definitely it's cut from the same cloth. It's very much the same type of design, same type of combat, same type of progression. I think that they also do some risky stuff there.
Definitely.
But yeah, I one thing like in terms of like the armor sets and skills is like I feel like there's just slightly too much.
I was going to ask about
slightly
that.
Too much
I wanted to
'cause
ask
it's
about
like,
that.
okay,
yeah.
I've got like all of these different armor sets and
Sure.
like trying to decide which ones to upgrade.
I think
And it's like, oh, I haven't completed this set yet, but now I've got a new set. So
I think it's really good. I think it's great, actually. It's
not overwhelming.
I think it feels like maybe a little too much because you're not going to use them all. It's giving you the
Right.
variety. It's like,
Right.
okay, I'm going to focus on these couple. I'm not even going to look at these, but they're there because people are going to pick and choose,
Yeah.
which way they go.
I also think that they're not designed in a way to where like this is clearly the best one. Like they
Yeah.
all have different perks.
They're
that suit
so well
different play
balanced.
styles.
Yeah, some of them are balanced so well because like there's a shield that increases the parry window.
Oh,
I'm like, oh, Brad doesn't need that.
I know.
It's like,
parries are pretty easy in that game.
I was like, yeah, just
They're
throw-
pretty easy in that
I was like,
game.
yeah, throw that on there. I was playing on the hardest difficulty.
Oh, man.
The parries are life and death.
Yeah.
Like if you miss a parry, you will die. So I was like, okay, I need that. But it was balanced so well because it has a little less stats than the other ones.
Yeah. Mhm.
Because that perk is so strong. So some other perks were like based on like runic and cooldowns,
I
but they
do
were more
think
stats.
that's something that is a little bit easy to miss. They eventually do teach you about it later, but just the double tap L1
Love that.
move, where it's like basically so
Shield bash.
The two main types of shields that you have is like the parry shield, which is a little bit lighter, and then you build up charge by successfully parrying, and then the Stonewall shield, where you basically just charge up by blocking, and then you hit that double tap on L1 and you just boom, like this
yeah.
big smash
Fun.
explosion.
Super fun.
But yeah, they eventually get there's like enemies that like have a specific like
Yeah.
HUD element that you can see.
Yeah.
Blood, you said the magic word, enemies. That was my biggest criticism with the first one, the 2018 one, was the lack of any variety.
Yeah.
There is much more this time around.
Yes.
Where I was seeing new stuff pretty frequently,
Yeah.
where I was like, oh, okay, good.
Yo, first gripe though, Brad, we got to dig in right now
Okay.
about the combat.
Okay.
They took it away from us, bro.
The fist,
The executioner.
Oh, the R2? Yeah.
Cleave, dude. They changed it.
they replaced it with like you get like more utility out of it, but I don't like it as much.
I didn't like it as much. The one is like legit like Makiri counter levels of like my favorite move in video
Charge
games.
R2, yeah.
You're in 2018, you hold R2 and Kratos just like does a really strong hit, and if they're low enough on health, it'll just like kill them. If an enemy's on the ground and you do it, it'll cut him in half.
So it's not the prompt, the red.
No,
thing
it's
not the grab
yeah,
move.
it's just a move. You hold R2, and then now they change it to Kratos sticks the axe in him and then throws
Throws
the
him.
enemy, and they explode with frost.
Okay.
Pretty cool.
So
Cool
like
move.
it's cool because you can throw guys off cliffs or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
You throw the guys
cheese.
pretty
yeah,
quick.
it's really good cheese. It's really good cheese. Super fun move, but I just missed.
Yeah, I had like this perk where I had a chance to like heal me too if I did it. I was like, well, I have to use
Yeah.
that.
But don't, unless I'm misunderstanding, because I hope they continue this. But from the little I played, low enemies with low health. For example, the newest thing at the beginning where you could do like the frost on the Leviathan axe.
Yeah.
If you hit them at low health with, then they freeze and you follow up, they'll just shatter.
Yeah.
So like, do other enemies have like? Do they have like multiple like death animations or something like
They
that?
added
Like,
more now.
yeah.
which is
because it was pretty
awesome.
nice
Yeah.
to have that
Good
variety of how you
Yeah.
finish an enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It helps prevent that
more.
like
Dude.
kind of samey nature
Yeah.
of encounters, even with like same enemies.
Yeah, I remember that was one of my criticisms. Was like, yo, get a few more death animations.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
and then
one
with
where
the
he like,
blades, when you charge it up by mashing, you spin
So
instead, and
fun.
that can actually knock back projectiles with a certain upgrade or whatever.
love that.
Yeah.
There's a execution where like Kratos kicks the enemy up and they spin around and then he chops them in half.
Yeah, that one's really sick.
So
That one's really
sick.
cool. Like I loved all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the Charge R2 didn't hit as hard this
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
Yeah. But combat in
I
general.
think the combat's very good this time around. I'm kind of
Uh-oh.
I do miss like the fist stuff. A lot of it. It felt way
Yeah.
less important to me this time
Yeah.
around.
I agree.
I
I
agree.
agree.
Because it's
Because
the
they gave
shield,
you more shields.
But the shield move that we love, where he punches it, is
Yep.
gone.
Yep.
I was like, dude.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
there's some cool stuff, so don't worry.
Yeah.
I wasn't like, by the time everything was done, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, you can take it out. It's fine.
Yeah, I wonder if other people notice because like you and I were just obsessed with those
Yeah,
moves
yeah.
specifically, and they like kind of took them out. So like altered it.
But yeah, I feel like swapping between weapons in combat was pretty good too.
Yeah.
It felt pretty fast.
Yeah.
Like we were saying, you freeze the guy, then you get out your blades because it'll do more damage to them. It's just like all those little extra layers of combat really help. Like I played half the game, I think, on God of War mode or whatever,
give
and
me
I was
God of
like,
War, yeah.
I bumped it down one because I was like, I want to do all these quests.
Yeah.
I got to get through this game kind of thing. And it's like, it was still a good challenge, but it's like, you really get to
nuts.
know your toolkit. And if you're knowledgeable about it, can really help.
Yes, 100%. Like, rarely does a video game make me truly sweat and shake during a boss fight, and God of War Ragnarok did that. Like, some of the boss fights, legit, like freaking Sekiro style, dude. When I'm done, put the controller down, and you just feel the adrenaline, like, shaking my body. Oh my god, so intense. Yeah. All the death from above attacks, too.
Yeah, those are
You can,
fun.
like,
nice.
you can
Yep.
go
Oh, yeah,
above
they-
now. They're just you're more
Yeah.
mobile.
Yep, you
know?
are.
Yeah, most of the attacks are really like those context sensitive things, and you have to unlock a lot of them. But it's like dodge forward an attack, or dodge backwards an attack, or charge up your ice, or fire an attack. And
Bloodworth, help me. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I like that stuff because the old God of Wars is like jumping and like platforming is a big part of those games.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like non-existent in
Yeah.
2018 at all, but it's like you can do more of it now. It's like,
Yeah.
I want more of it, I feel like, but it's like a nice step in the right direction.
yeah, the grapple points kind of replace jumping in a
Yeah.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. Got some review veterans here, I would love your opinion here, because comparing God of War Ragnarok to the industry, it is the top of the mountain, top tier game, just production values, quality, just everything you think of, visuals, audio, everything. But then comparing it to 2018, I'm just like, some of this stuff didn't hit as hard, 2018 did have that benefit of
Reinventing the series.
innovation. The one take element, the Leviathan axe, just in general, the point of view and perspective, just all of that stuff. Like, how do you manage that when you are critiquing a game and analyzing a game?
I mean, I think a lot of this stuff does come down to like what we're talking about, like sort of like your sort of overall gut reactions to things like pacing and things like familiarity, and and it's just like everything that you said. It's like, okay, the parts that I played, like I get it. Like I feel that way too, and like Jones read your script, and I'm like, what do you think? The score is fine, and he's like, yep, sounds like a 9 to me, So it's like, so I think that you hit the right spots and you hit the right points that I think that are and it's not, and again, it's a 9, right? It's like, it's not like any of these things are like horrible. It's not like you're gonna have a bad time going through this.
You're gonna have a good
space
time
or anything like that. It's just it like you're saying, it doesn't hit as hard. It doesn't feel like as groundbreaking.
Do you put more value on innovation or refinement, or like does one overtake the other?
I don't think
for
I'd
you?
put
Or
value
do you-
on it. Just whatever works at the time or what. I don't think there's one
Yeah, I mean,
necessarily
it's
better
sort of
than the other.
it's that balance, right? Where it's like God of War 2018 was innovative and refining, like at the same time. Like it didn't come out there with like, oh, this is kind of a neat idea, but it's sort of a mess. It's like, no, it was a neat idea and it nailed acting and performances and audio and everything else. So it was like, okay, this stuff is also all nailing that. It's also improving all of it. But like you're saying, there's like some parts that are just, maybe make it feel a little bit, like, okay, why are we doing this right now?
Yeah.
Let's move along. It's like I like a quiet moment, but sometimes like I'm not sure, exactly, how to feel. Like I said, like at the last night is like I'm simultaneously very intrigued, but also sort of like, okay, let's get going. Like
I know exactly what moment you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because I know where you're at.
Yeah.
He told me. I was like, okay. Yeah. Let's talk about some spoilers, I guess. We can get a little more into this. So if you are super sensitive to this, if you're worried about this
Yes.
Yeah,
whole
this is
fiasco,
stuff
you
that
No
we're
more
warn-
dancing around here.
We're
Let's
talking
go.
stuff
Let's get
that's
in.
gonna be 8 to 10ish
Yeah,
hours
we're not talking about anything me and Mike
Nothing
have done.
end game.
Yeah, no way. But
Yeah.
we're gonna be in like more Bloods camp right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say, Blood? Like I guess about
Yeah,
these like
guide us, Blood,
specific
guide us.
moments of just like your thoughts on the game, very specific moments. I guess like you talked about the desert a little bit, that realm.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's one of the things that like we were talking about, like these side quests and stuff, and having that more freedom.
Yes,
But I actually like the quests themselves are pretty cool.
the side quests
Yeah.
in this game are very good. I would say.
Yeah.
Some
You-
really good stuff in there. Like, don't skip them.
Yeah,
No.
you get some backstory on characters.
Yeah.
You get to like meet up with like these like really cool creatures that are in this world with names that you're never going to be able to pronounce.
Yep, true.
Hafugufa or whatever the crap it is. True. Cool quest. The other thing that I just call a whale because I don't remember that name. Yeah. That's a cool quest. And you
Totally.
hear so much about like what Mimir was doing
Yeah.
before and the history of everything that went on in Svartalheim. And yeah, it's really, yeah, that stuff is really great. I'd say, but the thing that we want to get into, the thing that is where it's like, it's hard to like feel out is the Atreus sections.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There it
Playing
is.
as Atreus,
Yeah.
which we had to dodge
Yes.
in the description, but we put it in there. It's like, oh, you get a different moveset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
that you
really
have
check
to
out
use.
other reviews if they mentioned that or not.
Yeah. So it's like we kept everything that Huber said except play as Atreus.
Yeah. Bloodworth really
paragraph.
tweaked that really nicely. Yeah.
And yeah, I think I kind of agree with that using the bow
Yeah.
is just not quite as
I know. I want the
fun.
Jones take so bad because, like, you know me with ranged. Like, I'm not a bowman. You know, I love an axe versus a bow. Like, I wonder
Yeah, it's
which
like
one.
going from the Leviathan axe and the Blades of Chaos to that
Yeah.
is a little harder.
Yeah.
Like I loved the shift of perspective and just
Yeah,
to get
the
to know.
variety,
Yeah, I love the
yeah.
variety of it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was as enjoyable. There's some cool stuff he has though that I don't want to get into, but he has some cool things on his own. But
Yeah.
still, Kratos is the GOAT.
Yeah.
Sorry. And he always will be.
Yeah. Honestly, it reminds me kind of like a Metal Gear Solid 2 situation. You know?
Except if you'd have to be Atreus the whole game pretty much.
yeah, just like a little bit. I'm just like, all right.
Sure.
Like,
I was surprised.
and I really like
And I appreciate they did it though.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. This is a cool move. I like this, where this is going. Because, like, you play as him because, like, obviously he's not with Kratos at the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, cool. Like,
Yeah.
not with Kratos is pretty interesting.
Yeah, not with Kratos, and he's older, and
Yeah,
he's you know figuring things out. Like
yep.
I always think in 2018 when you're climbing the walls and Kratos like jumps on or Atreus jumps on your back,
yeah.
and like not anymore,
Not anymore, he's
not
doing it
anymore,
himself, yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was impactful. Just like those little moments I always think of.
Dama, is there any moments that have stood out to you in your time? Anything?
I mean, really haven't. I mean,
I know you're not very far in the game.
yeah, I feel like
It's just
we talked
anything
about
where
it.
you're like-
I mean, but I mean, really kind of talked about like the visual fidelity, how Kratos already feels like more mobile, even in the opening like hours. Just felt good because someone who did like the combat of the older games is like very fast paced. I feel like they, from what I'm hearing, they've kind of gone a little bit more, not quite all the way to that end of the pendulum. Like they've moved a little bit in that direction, taking some of the criticisms of 2018 that you guys can go a little bit harder in on this. Like it feels good.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
I think
speed it
they
up a
go
little bit.
harder.
But yeah, my biggest question was just about like Atreus. I knew we had to like dodge around it. It's just like, yeah, is he worthwhile fighting with Kratos? Is he on his own? Like now that you've answered, but like, is he ever back with Kratos again? And is it
Yeah,
more than
so
just
that's
like
that's
summoning
one
him to
thing.
like shoot a bad guy in the background or something, like range filthing them?
Yeah, that's one thing I think is actually kind of good is that like you get an Atreus section and then you get control back over Kratos pretty seamlessly, and then there's another Atreus section later, and then like that's where I am. I don't know what happens after that, but yeah, I did just get because it sounds like Brad had wanted to get this deep into it yet, but yes, Atreus has his own rage mode. We'll just say that.
Yes.
Yeah, he has his stuff.
Which again is a thing that like I don't think feels quite as good, even though it's
I
very
don't-
cool.
yes,
it
I'd
doesn't
agree.
feel combat-wise as tight.
I'd agree. I feel like as a trade-off in it, it seems like you can do it more often. In this, I feel like it's pretty quick, so that's nice. But
That being
it
built up
doesn't
pretty quick.
feel as good as throwing a boulder as Kratos at someone. You know,
They always dodge that boulder, dude. They always dodge it, but I love timing it. You get that last hit.
you gotta do it at the last hit. Yeah,
Last, because it just eats that meter,
Yeah.
that chunk of that meter. Throw that boulder. Feels good.
it feels good.
All the bosses. Feels so good.
This
I'm
is
not
like
getting any bosses.
Yeah, this is a hard game to talk about because it's
Yeah.
so plot focused in a lot of ways, and I know because me and Hubert have beaten it. Like, there's so much I want to talk to Hubert about. I haven't talked to Hubert about like much.
We're
of
gonna
this.
get those spoiler modes.
We're gonna,
Come on.
dude.
Yeah.
Yes,
There's
get
a
ready.
lot. There's a lot going on.
I will echo something you said, Hubert. Just jogged my memory
Yeah.
because I did talk about this in the impressions, but I'll reiterate it again. The two sort of boss-like fights I was able to do early on, especially the second one that we
dude.
had to avoid. Like we could say what it was,
Yeah.
but legitimately felt like an intense battle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
you're playing on the hardest difficulty.
It is.
Yeah,
No,
they
I
make
feel
you.
bad.
They make you earn that.
I
shit.
was playing on. I told everyone I will be the cheese person here. I went one below normal.
All right, all right.
And like I still like
That's the beauty of this
a
game.
few times, like once or twice, like I need some health. I need some health now, or I'm
Yeah.
gonna lose. And yeah, like I just like that you feel like you're in a fight of your life.
Fight of
Even
my
though,
life.
even as powerful as Kratos is, like it's so. I hate to
Yeah.
throw the word around, but it is the very definition like visceral. It's
It
like
is
you are
gritty.
feeling that fight.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
And you were like, are having those emotions at the same time. You are
They,
just full of
the
The
adrenaline.
Draugr
Even on
pit
the-
fights can get on you.
Those
pretty-
are nuts.
Yeah.
Dude, on the hardest difficulty, those are really
Insane.
hard. You're dead
The
in like
s-
a hit or two.
The
Boom,
side
boom,
stuff,
dead.
the side stuff on hard
Yeah, it's
is
so hard.
so insane. The story stuff they really help you out.
They do.
because some of the fights have phases.
They
and
do.
they'll give
And
you a checkpoint.
Generous checkpoints,
Yeah.
for
Even
sure.
on the hardest,
Yeah.
you
So
can.
you die and you start like halfway in the fight.
Because like a lot of
or
times,
like a
blood, you know,
third.
you're like in the fight, you're third way through, they'll do like a cutscene transition kind of
Yeah.
thing. And it's
Okay.
like
You pick up there.
you pick up there.
Because I don't think
Yeah. 'Cause on
I
the-
feel like I haven't died in like a real boss fight. Like I've
Yeah.
always just sort of been like right on the skin of my teeth, but I've managed to stay alive.
Yeah, they're pretty generous about it.
on the mini boss fights though.
Yeah, I've done I've
On the
done those over
hardest,
a
no
couple times.
checkpoints, but you can actually turn them on mid boss checkpoints. There's so many options to turn
Oh, yeah.
on. All these difficulties, like you can tune it however you want. It's so nice.
Really
It
appreciated
is
that,
so well
yeah.
balanced, and you know. I like when it's hard because for me, it's not like I need to be challenged. Really, the main purpose of difficulty for me has always been to make the stuff more meaningful, to make leveling up, to make finding gear matter even more. That is what I
Yeah.
love about it. So I really felt that on my playthrough. Anytime I would use resources to pump something up or invest in a new piece, or, you know, doing the side quests would find other stuff that I needed, so I would pursue those. Like all of that stuff felt so amazing.
Yeah.
So shout out to that. Loved all that.
Yeah. Interesting with this game is it is a cross-gen game, and it felt like it a little too much sometimes to me. Like, unfortunately, it's like not
Yeah, I
developers
saw some
side.
little visual things.
There's
here
like
and
a
there.
lot of like, you know, you lift this rock, they come through, or like you go through this narrow area where the game's
Yep.
loading. There's like a lot of that in the game, but it's like I totally get that.
Yeah, what's weird is like I've seen some people dispute that had anything to do with loading at all.
Oh,
so,
really?
Like,
Okay.
it's just like
Fair enough,
for
then.
other like
Just
game
whatever.
design reasons, but
If it's for game design reasons, it was too much. Then I'll say
Yeah.
that because there's a lot of that. But
yeah, I've definitely noticed it too.
I play it. I'm like, damn, this is like an excellent. Like, I haven't played this on PlayStation 4, and I just wonder how it's gonna be. I
Right.
can't wait for that Digital Foundry take on it or
Yeah.
whatever. But it's like,
yeah.
even on PlayStation 5, it's very nice looking. Still, it still
Yeah.
feels great.
Give
Like,
me those 60 frames.
frames are
you know,
good. There's a lot of-
perfect.
Well, and that's the thing too. Is it's
all
like
I want.
It's a little
Yeah, it
bit
helps.
easier of a choice for me since I'm only playing in 1080 anyways. So
Yeah.
it's like oh, it's either 4K or it's 60 frames. I'm like, well, then it's 60 frames, sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like Spider-Man or other games where they like have all the ray tracing and stuff going on, this game's not doing that. It's like, oh,
I think this has 120
Yeah.
version
It
or
targets
something.
120,
Targets
yeah.
120.
120, yeah.
Targets,
Yeah,
Oh.
targets it. Yeah,
So-
uncapped.
which is cool.
So-
Uncapped.
Uncapped
that's
it.
120.
I talked about
Uncapped
the-
is
Yeah.
just not.
I talked about the big animals, but like, I just another thing I've been appreciating, and like I just got, through the first section of Angrboda, and just that environment. It's just so many weird little creatures.
Yeah.
A lot of
know?
weird creatures. It's cool.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff.
Yeah, I think honestly, this remind all the great works for me. Like, you know, I think of like Stanley Kubrick movies and shit. Like all the great masterworks, I feel like need a reanalysis. I feel like this game is there's so much. There is so much
There's a lot.
where they are just throwing lore at you nonstop, whether you're reading it or you're hearing it or seeing it. It is just nonstop lore. So I wonder, like, just knowing all that, going back,
Right.
just with it in your mind, because I feel like your first time through this game, like, there's just a lot to think about at all times.
Yeah, lots to digest.
Yeah,
a
a
lot.
lot
Yeah,
to
there's
digest.
a lot.
So settle in.
Any final thoughts you guys want to share on it? I feel like we've done a pretty good job going into the game, but like, I'm so like worried about like going over anything we shouldn't say yet.
Sam,
So
keeping my cards close to the
yeah,
chest.
I guess I'll just say I think this is an excellent video game.
Yeah.
It's really good. I mean, if you liked God of War 2018, you're gonna really like this
Yeah.
game. You're gonna have a damn good time. So, dude, I'd recommend it highly.
Oh, 100%.
This is like the PS4 swan song, I guess. You know, it's
True.
not PS4 only.
Yeah.
I guess Ghost of Tsushima. Never mind. That it doesn't matter anymore. But this is like one of the last great PlayStation 4 games ever.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. A hell of a video game. Lives up to the hype. Still feels phenomenal, albeit a little familiar. There is
Yep.
that familiarity to 2018. You know, it might not be as big of a leap like 2018 was, obviously. But just an incredible game from top to bottom, and probably like the best use of your time and money that you could possibly do on this planet.
That's
honestly, like as a human being, I don't really see any other better way to spend your time than with this video game.
Anything else, Blood? You good?
Yeah. I think it's just really enjoyable. Really, loving getting to know this world and everything
Yep.
that they've got so far. And it's like the low points are like, like we're saying, it's like you're going from a 10 to a 9. It's like it's a very minor bump in the road. Yeah.
Yep.
Damian, I know you haven't played a ton of it, but are you excited to play more of this? Are you like, yeah, I can't wait to play more? Or are you just kind of like, yeah, I'm having a good time. I'll just get to it when I get to it.
Yeah, I think it's more like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay.
But I mean, it definitely gripped me faster
Than
in
the-
what I
okay.
played than the other one. The other one was more like curiosity.
Sure.
Kept driving me through what I played.
Yeah.
And this one just whatever it was. I think again, just like how Kratos felt to control and play, just was a little bit more my speed.
Damiani, I know you were obsessed with the build variety in Elden Ring. You know, every time I saw you playing Elden Ring, I saw you with a different weapon. How do you?
Are you sure?
Well, I saw you rocking like the big like shockwave weapon quite a bit.
The shield, the cheese shield at
Yeah.
the time.
Oh, I didn't actually ever use that.
No, the like sword, and you do the down.
Oh,
the,
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
Oh, the Radon
Yeah,
weapons?
yeah.
But-
dual
Yeah.
great swords.
Yeah. But just in general, like, quick thought on your God of War combat love. Do you love it? Do you love the combat?
Well, I mean,
just
I
really
thought
It
you were
sounds
gonna
like it's too early.
Yeah,
for me
I
to
was
figure it out.
literally
Too
thought you were
early?
gonna ask me about like
Okay.
build variety. I'm
No,
like,
no.
Cuber? I don't
Because you
no
don't have the
idea.
axe and the blade, so it's like, you're not like you can still do a lot with the axe and blades build wise.
This is a hard question. I feel like I'm in an unfair position at the
Got it,
moment to
got it,
answer
got it.
that
Okay,
because
okay.
I would need to play more.
Yeah.
Because I'm coming off of just finishing Bayonetta 3,
Got it,
which
got it,
gives
got it.
you so many different weapons
Got it,
and
got it.
styles to choose from that it's I don't know if that's it might be a little difficult to compare that with that frame of
All right,
reference.
curb that thought,
Curve it.
because we will be talking about that again. I want to talk about that.
All right, let's move on to our next game, which, Damian, you reviewed this a little bit ago, but we just forgot to even talk about it.
That's right. So many games.
So many games. That
It's
is,
got lost.
I'm curious about this game. Is Mario & Rabbids The Sparks of Hope? Or Sparks
The
of Hope?
Sparks
not
of Hope.
the-
Yeah. The Sparks of Hope. Sparks are the little rabid lumas.
Yeah.
Which they try calling it in the game. That's like part of their humor that they preserve is they call them rabid lumas and like, oh, what is called? They're actually just called sparks.
Oh, okay.
And someone's like, oh, what rabid lumas? And like, cause they're like, it's like so deadpan natural. Like it's a rabbit and a luma. So we just called that. And you're like, nah, sparks. And
Sparks.
it's like, cool. Yeah, talking about the question I posed to you and the group here about 2018 God of War versus Ragnarok, like, is it still like risk taking and stuff? Very applicable here, if going from Kingdom Battle to Sparks of Hope, where I do think this is a good example of them not being too samey as before. The biggest benefactor of those changes is just the combat. They definitely looked at what were the serious criticisms leveraged against the battle system, tweaked it, made it not only more accessible, but just easier to play, easier to understand, and more enjoyable to play no matter what difficulty you're playing on. And was very impressed with that. The biggest, most visible change, the free roam movement now. You are given a radius where you can move. It'll show you the outline of where you can go.
Yeah, it's not grid-based
but
anymore.
You moving a spot doesn't like use up meat or anything like that. You just go and do. You're limited by actions you could take during your turn.
I did not know that.
So, for example, let's say you're playing as Mario. It's your turn. Your turn doesn't end until you use your primary weapon, which is dual wielding guns. Anything else you do you can still follow up with another action. So free movement allows you to do like a slide tackle. You can jump off people. Eventually you might, like Mario, get this ability to jump off enemies, like, basic head stomp stuff. Those really target them and shoot them in real time, or you could like buff everybody as well. So each and then move wherever the heck you want, and then do your primary shot. So, and you're free to mix and match your party as like whoever you want. There were restrictions. The original, the new characters are all great additions. Bowser is my favorite.
Yeah.
And it was not this people.
Okay.
But he does slide tackle.
Nice.
He does slide tackle, like it's a charge through. It's
Does
really
he butt
nice.
stomp? Can you bust?
Yeah, really good. You have the new girl Edge, who looks like Cloudbuster sword, like with an emo look. It's like a boomerang sword. If everyone's like a samurai stance thing, where if anyone comes within their range, they'll like dash at them and do like everyone in range and hit them with an attack. And then you got Rabid Rosalina. And so combat, really overhauled, really, really nicely done. Boss encounter towards some of the boss encounters in the first game, but these aren't necessarily like pushovers at basically different each phase. I felt like it was like upping the, like, one is just the arena starts going the environments.
Nice.
It's not like it feels like you're dropped into like a well, and just simple exploration. And it's not these corridors
like
anymore.
The first one?
The first one is very linear, and this one is just free roam, walk around an environment. And they're pretty good looking environments, and they're themed after the seasons. So like you kind of like start like with a summer tropical area, but each region has kind of come under I forget what dude, there's a Halloween place that's so sick, and you go to a haunted forest, and you get like, it's kind of like shades of Mario RPG a little bit, like trying to figure out how to get out of the forest. And I was like, all right, because you get these abilities to help you with traversal. One of them is this like sonar thing that reveals hidden objects, like hidden treasure chest, or maybe there's a hidden ladder. Like, I can't figure out how to get out here. Is there something I'm missing? And you use it, and like it'll ping something like, oh, what's over here? And you get close enough, and use it again, it will reveal like a secret path or a secret ladder. And sometimes there are alternate routes to the side objectives. Like, not as you can track everything through that, so it's very comprehensive. But you could just pretty much stick to the crit path. Nice. You can just basically you have to like undo the natural disaster and then go fight a boss if you want to stick to that. But if you want more, there's so much more to do in the environment.
You like it more than the last one?
Oh, yeah, this is one of the areas I was kind of disappointed in, was the soundtrack, because I don't think there are very many standout songs. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, you gotta have those one or two that just like never leave your head.
And I went back and re-listened to Kingdom Battle, and that was all strictly Grant Kirkhope. And I think by having him tackle it, have a unifying theme, I think you got some better. It just benefited from that a little bit more, and I felt like the music in the first game was a little bit stronger, not a little bit, much more stronger than this one. So I was left scratching my head, because it was pretty clear to tell who was composing each song. I don't think that's that difficult, but it just feels, I don't want to say phoned in because I don't want to be mean, but it just feels underwhelming.
Interesting.
Yeah,
interesting.
Not the best, but
yeah.
I'm not sure how much you've played of the original one. If there were
I got
anything,
like halfway on the original.
if there were anything that like criticisms or anything you have
like
like questions about.
Just the story didn't do anything at all for me, and then just the battles kind of got repetitive.
So
and that's why I scrubbed out.
the story for this one, this is a very Mario Galaxy influenced story.
Nice.
If you like Super Mario Galaxy, I don't want to say too much, but like it kind of, if you want to, it kind of ties
You don't really
into
need a story
yeah.
in a Mario game, but if like
Right.
if the gameplay is getting boring and I'm not invested in the story, that's usually when
Sure.
I pull the ripcord. So if you have one or the other, I'll
I
probably
think
stick
how
around.
this gets away with it is like the each world, the early worlds introduced one of the new characters one by one, and so you're getting to mix and match that, and then you do have like the skill tree system comes back, so you could choose.
I was going to ask you
where
about
to-
that. Is it kind of the same how it works?
It's pretty much the same,
Okay.
and there's an option just to, like auto place
Yeah,
your
I think-
points if you
yeah.
just want like the game to like kind of choose like
For
what
you?
it thinks. It's pretty competent, but I mean, you're not gonna have enough points to max out everything. When you hit max level, you have to pick and choose still. And some of it you can go into the category of like more mobility.
Yeah.
Like I want to like move further. I want to do more like slide tackles, more jumps, and like maybe that's your
Slide
preference.
tackles.
Yeah.
Good.
Others
Good.
can give you
All
like
in on
boost up
that.
all your special abilities. You can like reduce the cooldowns.
Can you give
increase the
Bowser
potency.
more crit?
I don't know about crit, but you can like.
Save a
I don't know
bleed
if there's
effect.
like I forget if there's something like that about crit.
Bowser bleed.
Yeah, but you can't like change like weapons or anything like that. There's no like stats on the weapons. I believe there's weapon skins you unlock. That's one of the rewards. So
Oh
you can,
wait,
like-
weapons don't have like elements on them.
so there's sparks.
Oh,
So this is the
okay.
big
Oh,
other
right,
thing about
yeah.
the system. You can enhance your character's abilities based on sparks. Some of them are just simple elemental, like all your attacks will have like a fire element or a lightning element or wind. So like lightning will shock them and stun them. Wind can knock them back, and like same with Kratos, axe throwing them off the
Yeah.
edge. You can knock enemies off the edge. They take huge amount of damage when they fall off the edge of the arena, just like in the first one. I mean, the fire one like makes them with a dot.
I love
They
the
run,
fire in that game.
Yeah, they run around all crazy, and they touch anyone else, they also start burning, and they go nuts as well, and stuff to that effect. But then there's also like AOE attacks that you can do with them. One of them's like a poison one where you do like poison dot on anyone within range, or you
That's
can
OP.
shock everyone within range. So they either fall into like an elemental affliction on yours, an AoE ability, and then there's like some other specialized ones, some spoiler ones later that are pretty good too. And mixing and matching is good because like you will see enemies that like enemy types have different weaknesses. So you need to pay attention at the beginning of a map, and then you just go into your menu and maybe just quickly change out your sparks to better suit a fight, and like it will make the difference.
I think what's really selling me, not just Bowser, obviously, but it's been so long since there's been a Mario game, I feel like. It's been so long. Like, this is sounding so good and so nice, Damiani, because what really sold me was just like the world map and the points of interest and stuff. Just being Mario and roaming around. Like, I need that in my life sometimes, Nintendo. It's been so long. So it feels like the right time for this game,
Yeah,
you know?
it's been a while since we've had like a
Yeah.
I mean, we're still waiting for like a new 3D Mario game. Where the heck is it, Nintendo? But this kind of like fills
Yeah.
it a
The
little
last
bit.
Paper
Yeah,
Mario
you're
kind
really
of
selling
filled
me.
a lot of that for me. That was a pretty cool journey.
Yeah, we had that 2 years ago. Was it 2020, 2021? Now I can't even remember when.
Yeah, I
that
want
one was.
to say it was 2 years ago, and then I played it a year later.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, just like running around with your characters, you pick who's in. Like they even fixed that in the original one. That Roomba thing is in front of you the
Yeah,
whole
that's what
time,
you control.
and now it's like above you, and your characters kind of are at the side of you. So like you're all running as like a group, so not like as a line. It's not as
Not like
goofy.
Final Fantasy,
It's like
yeah.
a board game anymore. Yeah, it actually feels a little bit more natural.
More party going
Yeah.
through. Nice.
The one thing I was wondering, because when you're talking about the freedom of movement and everything, and moving away from the XCOM style grids, how does that impact the way that enemies approach you and how you can read like where you put yourself? Because if everybody's moving around pretty freely, to me it sounds like
You
it
got-
would be confusing to see what the enemies are doing.
It has like the sort of similar of Fire Emblem where you could toggle enemy like ranges where you could see where basically there'll be like those lines that'll show, oh, you are within range of this enemy, and they could do this, this, or this to you. Like you're in range of their weapon, or you're in range of their mobility. It just shows you in the line, like in the range of like line of fire, basically. Now the nice thing I will say, this was a problem in the first game. It really didn't become a problem except in one kind of boss arena, but I think the boss arena was like specifically asking for this to happen. Is you don't get those crazy weird AI things where the enemy moves like so much, like they go into a pipe, go down it, move a little bit, go down another pipe. Like their turns would take forever because they were doing all these weird movements, like going in a pipe, then going back down it. Like just pick your end spot. Like why are you doing this? Enemy movement feels a little more succinct and faster paced, so you're not just sitting there waiting around for their turn to finish. And you can, I played it on like double speed. You could like increase the speed. So I would absolutely recommend playing it on the faster speed, the fast forward mode, so you don't have to sit around and wait. But also, they had a few like more environmental things that you could take advantage of, and other like smaller enemy types, like bombs are in a lot of areas, and you could like attack them like. And then you could pick them up and toss them, and it'll show an AoE field that anything in that will be blown up or damaged by it. But like destroying cover is still like a big thing in this as well. So like you want to either get behind something that is like indestructible, or if you're behind something, it's like, you know, just temporary cover. But yeah, like I didn't have a problem with like enemy movement, and it's pretty generous. You can crank up the difficulty if you really want things to push back.
How's the economy? Good upgrades, good shops, good shopkeepers. Little toads?
Probably just one shop.
There's a shopkeeper in each world, and they sell you. There's two currencies, Huber.
Nice.
There's a thing to buy normal items like the POW block, whatever, to do like an AoE, health items like mushrooms, stuff like that. Then there's things
you have plenty of that currency, I imagine.
I feel like towards the end, like for the final boss, when I stocked up, I burned through all my coins just to like have everything ready to go for the final boss.
Okay, nice.
But for most of the game, I felt like I didn't need to rely too much on items. Like you can get them through exploration and rewards that I didn't really need to buy that type of stuff.
Got it.
The other thing that you want to buy are with sparks that you earn from each battle.
Got it.
Are you could buy more backstory on each world. These little like notebook things, I think they are. I forget what they are. Either notebooks or cards or whatever that like reveal information. But then you can also buy like a key that unlocks like a special zone in each region. And then there's skins, like the weapon skins as well. Fun. So the more interesting stuff is it encourages you to go do more of the optional battles.
Seek out some
so if you crit path it, you're not going to be able to buy a lot of that stuff.
Cool. Good.
And you're going to just be whoops.
Love that.
You know, I don't have enough for this. And those key things, they look like I want to say like the Super Mario Sunshine Challenge levels in terms of like just they look like blocky, like made of like blocks and toys.
Yep.
But all it is it's basically a special spark awaits you, and it's like a big puzzle environment. But there's also enemies that are obstructing your path, so you can either try and figure out a way around the enemies and solve the puzzle, or you just confront them and like clear a path, and you get a pretty good spark reward. And that's the thing, optional battles reward you with sparks as well. There's like over 30 different sparks. So the crit path will only give you a handful, but some of the good ones are, you know, hidden behind.
There's still the stuff where it's like, I remember in the first game there's a lot of like item or things you couldn't interact with yet. You got to come back later.
Yes, so you can come back. Some of it is coming. There isn't as much of it, but there are definitely some parts where when you get some of the new traversal abilities, you can go back and there's maybe like one thing you couldn't do. Also, when you're exploring an area, it is possible to go to an enemy that's too high level for you. And enemies will show you a level above their head. Like the very first world, I was trying to go off to this side of the beach and saw, there's some secret thing over here, and I run up to the Goomba to fight it, and like I just got my ass handed to me. I'm like, whoa, why is this so hard? And then when I backed out, I'm like, I'm level 3 and they're level 10. Yeah, you got to pay attention to what you're fighting here. So they definitely want you to put a little bit of time into each area before maybe seeing all of its secrets.
Nice, love that.
Cool. I'm excited to play this game. I don't know when I'll get to it, but I liked the first one. I played it this year. It was a good time. It sounds like this is just kind of an improvement across the board.
Looks pretty good. I mean, but I feel like with everything coming out this year on Switch, Switch is showing its age a little bit.
For sure.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Speaking of a game that's also on Switch, we're talking Sonic Frontiers, baby.
Yes.
We have not seen a Switch version.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, I watched some stream of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Switch.
it's okay.
Switchy.
This is what all I'm getting from this man, Brad, is like, it's okay.
It's okay.
The Switch version or the game?
The Sonic
the game
Frontiers in
Oh,
general.
sure.
It's like,
sure, totally.
That's
Yeah.
a win, though.
Sure.
That's
It's a win after how
I
many
think it's a win. I think it's the best 3D song game in a long time. Long time.
Dude, it's not quite as drastic as Mario and Rabbids. Remember how it was revealed with the leak? And we all like, this is a disaster.
Yeah.
Sort of same
I was
vibes
not.
with Sonic.
I was a believer
Okay.
since day one. Check the
I want to go
receipts.
check the tapes.
Check 'em all.
I want to
Check 'em
check
all.
the tapes.
Check
on
'em all.
that.
To be fair, I
Check
think
all the
you're
receipts.
a believer on Sonic most of the time. Always been for the
No,
down.
no.
You were hyped
Oh, you're talking about
for Forces.
Sonic. You're talking about
I
Sonic.
was not hyped for
thought you were
Forces.
talking about Mario and Rabbids.
I was going to play Forces. I was not hyped. There's a difference.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
not like, yo, Forces. No. I was like, yeah, I'll play it. Whatever.
You seemed a little more excited about it, from what I remember, but it doesn't matter.
But yeah.
This
Tell us.
game, dude, the most you're swimming, bro. The most. I've seen people describe it as this now, swimming in sevens. Like
Yeah.
the sevens, the weird sevens thing that we have, this fascination is carrying on, and this game is swimming big time.
It's so funny, Brad, because like even like stepping away and then coming back and then seeing you like go through the open world and like things just popping up everywhere, like right next to you. There's like a platform that pops up, and like, what is why? What is
Because you're so
happening?
damn fast.
But even
how's
when
the
you're not
speed? How's
fast,
the
they just
speed?
sort of happen.
Well,
Tell me about the speed.
you go fast as hell in this game. Blood saw me going pretty
yeah,
fast. It feels
yeah,
good.
it's borderline.
You're hustling.
yeah, you're trying to keep up with what's happening. Yeah,
Does it remind you of Extreme G, Bloodworth?
no.
Extreme
no.
G. Why'd you think Extreme
Just
G?
every time, I feel like
You associates Extreme G with speed?
yeah, dude,
the most.
breaking the sound barrier.
Would you say that's the
I
best
mean,
sense of speed in a
F-Zero
game?
GX is way faster than Extreme G.
I like breaking the sound barrier.
That was like a whole thing in that game, yeah.
Moving on.
Breaking the frame rate.
Well, anyways, to me, Sonic has been, especially in the 3D space, in a really rough spot.
Yeah.
I'm not shy about it. I criticize Sonic all the time.
Absolutely.
Big time, because it
Absolutely.
sucks.
Absolutely.
Especially because I played Frontier or Forces this year.
Yeah.
That game was bad.
Rough.
It was really rough. This game's rough,
Yeah.
but good. I had a good time playing
Hell
through
yeah.
this game.
Did you play Generations, Brad?
I did,
That one?
yeah.
Okay. That was like to me the
I remember
last
Generations
good
being
one.
like pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I played
I liked
Lost
it.
World and I didn't really
Really?
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lost World was disappointment because of how much
Lost
they were like
World.
piggybacking off of like
Sonic
the
Boom.
Mario vibes at the
Yeah.
time, and it didn't end up being that.
exclusive. Yeah.
But yeah, Generations. Like,
I love
think,
Generations.
I'm with you. I think it was the last good one, but also it's incredibly short.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
And it played it pretty safe because it was just 3D reimaginings of like some classic
Yeah.
2D levels
Yeah,
as
it
well.
was.
So
That was like the whole 3D and 2D, like
yeah,
Sonic.
So I mean,
Best Sonic.
that had it's kind of hard to miss the mark on that one. So these original endeavors have just kind of been
Yeah.
striking out a little
Dude,
bit.
Generations and Mania.
Yeah, what's great about this
Mania
one
is
is that, dude, this game goes for it big time. They go for it. First of all,
The
like,
story, I remember the trailers, Brad, were unhinged.
it's story level. It doesn't matter. It's like Sonic. If you're into Sonic story, you might care about it. Like, to me, I was just like, all right, whatever.
Is that what you mean when they're going for it? Like
No,
the
just
story?
like this. Well, they go for everything. Like, I guess they go in the story. They treat it very seriously. Like, it's Sonic. They do. Okay. But just the idea of like, here's this huge open space, and there is just a shit ton of things to do, and this to go, like courses to go through.
Yeah.
Little bite-sized obstacles, man.
Nice.
You're grinding, you're bouncing, you're going flowing constantly. Like Blood saw me playing a little bit. Like Blood, I was going through these things just like
Yeah.
one to another, just pretty like you can get pretty good at it seamlessly and just go through it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things. It's like there's all these little things that are scattered about,
Yeah.
just floating around, but it's like you can find ways to sort of connect them, and I think that's what it sort of feels
Yeah.
good, almost like doing like a Tony Hawk level.
That's
sort
where
of like,
that's where I
yeah.
think it's fun is like all that stuff. It was just a nice, new, refreshing take on Sonic that they've desperately needed for a long time of just this sense of Sonic trying to. They've tried to do things, they don't work usually, but they try something here. I'm like, okay, there's potential here. Obviously, they played Breath of the Wild and we're like, oh, okay. everything down to the music and the zones and just all this stuff. Sky, there's like little like weird goofy guys you collect to raise your stats. You have stats now, dude, by the way.
Stats, dude.
You got-
Armor pieces.
Boost meter.
You got
You get armor?
No, not like you don't get equipment. You don't get equipment.
oh,
That'd
man.
be dude.
Sonic
sequel.
in the,
give Sonic
what
a
is it,
Sonic and the Black Knight.
Knight with
Yeah,
a
I
sword.
want to see like a 6 scar.
That was Sonic Boom.
Yeah.
Or he had like a bandana or something like that. Whatever. But you level up stats, so you have speed, you have like damage, defense, and like your ring capacity. Okay? And by doing this, you just collect, to raise your strength and defense, you find these like seeds out in the world. Reds for damage, blues for defense. You know, you get these through just doing anything, like just
Korok
random
seeds.
tasks. No. I'll get to that.
Oh.
You just like go through courses. You get stuff constantly just by doing stuff all the time. You get items for characters. Like in the first zone, for instance, Amy is trapped.
Yeah.
You gotta help Amy out, okay?
Got it.
So you collect these like heart things for her, and you get cutscenes with her. She's sprinkled throughout the map, and you get like Sonic lore, I guess, if you're into that.
Okay.
But then you get these like strength and defense seeds that get your stats up, and then for ring capacity and speed, there's these like little goofy Korok looking dudes, like stone Korok dudes looking around the world. You collect all them and you return back to like the elder. What is it? Coco?
Coco, yeah.
Coco, yeah. You
Deku
took them-
tree.
Yeah, kind of. And you, he's like very tiny though, but you go to them, then he's like, hey, do you want to boost your speed or your ring capacity? And you're like, okay, just one of those. It's pretty like straightforward and there's not a lot to it, but it's like
Yeah.
some kind of progression, I guess.
nice.
I'm like, okay, I guess like,
Go faster. It's always fun.
and there's 99 levels for each category. And it's like, I didn't get anywhere close to that
wow.
when I beat the game.
Yeah.
Nowhere close. I didn't do 100% everything, but like, I think if you want to like see everything,
Yeah.
it could take a while.
Yeah.
But in between, so the outdoor world is like the biggest difference, okay? The open space for you to run around in, plenty of, the zones are pretty big too. So you can definitely zoom through areas if you want.
Yeah. Does that feel good? Just like
Zooming can feel fun, yeah.
Like, will you run into a wall or run into
No,
a tree?
not
or
really.
no?
No.
Can you go?
There's not like,
Can you bomb down an area for like
Yeah, you
20,
can bomb.
30 seconds at a time?
Well, 30 seconds is a long time.
It is a long
But
time.
you can bomb enough where you felt like you got the bomb.
Okay. Cool.
And like you will improve obviously as you play more. Like Sonic doesn't feel pretty, actually it feels pretty good, I'd say.
Nice.
Felt pretty good in control with Sonic.
One other quick question.
Yes.
How's the spin dash feel?
There's no like normal spin dash.
What?
Yeah, you don't stop and go. There's like a move or an attack.
What?
There's like well, you don't need to at all because in this game, you can go from 0 to like 100 instantly.
Yeah.
You have a boost button.
Yeah.
You can just boost.
Can
and
I
you have
just
a boost
sit
meter.
there? Like, I
No.
can't just sit there and
No.
spin?
Not that I've seen.
I love spamming that
harsh.
since I was a little youth.
That's a 2D thing.
That's a 2D thing.
I
Yeah.
love it.
You gotta grow up, Huber.
I gotta move on.
Yeah, you gotta move on. You
I
gotta
think
get
they could
past
have
it.
done some pipes or something. That would
Yeah. I think he like he goes into circles like for some
Yeah.
things, but you're not going like revving up kind of thing like that.
Okay.
Unless I haven't seen it yet, but I beat the game. But who knows? But there's also on the map. There's these like points you can go to. Like they look like giant stone like chairs almost. You go to them and it's a stage. It's like a traditional Sonic stage.
Nice.
So these are also in 3D and 2D. Or it's not like 2D, but it's side scrolling, I guess. But
Yeah.
you're still 3D Sonic. So you can go through these stages. Good speed, going fast a lot of times. They're pretty short. I guess most of them are pretty short in most games now I think about it. They're like first run, probably like a minute to 3 minutes
Nice.
going through it. But there's quite a good amount of them.
Yeah, when I saw you do, like the S rank was like 110 or below.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like time, there's like challenges in between, like
Oh, that's fun.
collect all the red rings or whatever like that.
Yeah.
You get a key that you need to collect Chaos Emeralds to progress in the zones.
Got it.
So yeah, each zone you got these chores.
Is
and
that a
these-
spoiler?
No.
Are the Chaos Emeralds optional or required?
No, they're required.
They are required.
They
Okay,
are
okay,
big
okay.
time required.
Cool.
Big time. I'm gonna get into why.
Got it.
Blood knows why, but we'll get into
Can
that.
I ask one other maybe
Yes.
spoilery question?
Yes.
Casino zone. Casino.
Oh, I
Not
think
a
I've seen
zone.
it.
No. There was a callback that I thought was cool though.
Okay. Cool.
Don would maybe approve. So you can take that as you will. But there's no like casino zone. But
Yeah.
the zones you are in are definitely modeled after past Sonic things. There's like 4 or 5 types of zones you go through. It's like
Yeah.
the Green Hill style zone. There's like the factory kind of thing from 2,
Chemical plant.
Yeah, chemical plant kind of thing. There's like a ruins and there's like a city kind of thing, I think.
Your classic
Classic-
biomes.
The biomes, there's like 4 or 5. I wish there was more. But it all takes place in a digital space. That's why it's, it's Sonic, whatever. You'll figure it out when you play it.
Okay.
But they're fun to go through, especially because doing the time ones where you're like, I got to beat this pretty fast, okay? They're not too hard, but some of them, you find some cool skips. I was finding like cool skips. I was just like jumping over stuff. I was like, oh, that was fun.
Nice.
I like discovering that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I wish there's a little more, but there's still a little room for like, you put in the time or whatever, you start learning the course mode, you can shave off some time.
Nice.
So that's all good fun.
That's fun.
The levels are fun. They're not going to blow you away by any means, but they're a good time. I had a
Yeah.
great time. They're better than Forces from what I remember, though. So that's a step up, big
Low
time.
bar there.
But like I said, on the map, you got all these things you're doing, these tasks, collecting, you get the Chaos Emeralds. Go get ready for this. So at the end
Yeah.
of each stage, there's a boss fight
Standard.
where
Normal.
you're supersonic.
Okay.
These are bad.
How bad?
These are not good. Blood saw it and had no idea what was happening.
Okay.
I was very confused when I was doing it.
Brad sent me this clip, and he's like, I need an adjective for this. And I'm like, disorienting.
Yes.
Okay. So not a great way to end the stage.
No. So like the first level, the first world is this giant, huge robot. There's actually a lot of good enemy variety in this game, I'd
Nice.
say. It's nice, like mini bosses on the map. There's
Yeah. What I
Good
like
amount
is
of
that
different-
like you can fight a mini boss,
Or
or
you can
like
just
it'll
bounce.
trigger, or you can just like run away.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're just like whoop, see you later. So that's
Cool.
nice. That is I was surprised how much there was.
Cool.
But these giant boss fights, like the first one's some huge mecha thing.
Yeah.
Supersonic dude. I'm flying around. It is so goofy. I'm having a problem just even hitting this guy. I'm like clipping through him and shit. I'm like, oh my god, dude, I'm getting like a headache. You got to parry these boss fights though.
What?
You got a parry mechanic.
Parry?
It's extremely easy. Is the most generous. You just push like R1, L1. And
It's like basically a quick time event.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you like push a quick time thing, and it's like they're goofy. I don't think they're good fights. I appreciated with them. I was like, yo, you're going all in on this. I respect it, but it's not
Music
good.
is insane.
The music is
They've like written specific
pop,
songs.
punk,
Yeah.
Sonic bullshit. If you love that stuff, like,
Nice,
to me, Blood, that was an extremely on-brand songs. I was like, yeah, this is Sonic fans are gonna love this shit.
Yeah.
So they're going through that.
But it's a total mess.
It's a total mess.
control-wise. And
It's
I
a total
think
mess.
it's partly because as Supersonic you're flying.
You're flying.
And so you have gotten like
It's
no
just like-
reference point, and you're just kind of like sort of
Yeah.
like nebulously floating around the thing, trying to figure out how
Mm-hmm.
to target its weak points or whatever. Yeah.
I want to talk about this too in the open world. So there's little challenges you can do. They're very small. You can get like some rewards for doing them, and there's like question marks on the map. If you go to them, you do that challenge. It'll show more of the map, kind of thing like that. So you're incentivized to do these things. These can come from ranges of like, here's these platforms. You have to walk across all these platforms, but you can't touch the other ones. So you like carve out your little path or
fun.
something like that,
Fun.
or you're on this pillar and you're on 3 squares and you have Sonic jump back and forth between them. You just stand on the light ones. Just quick little like bloop, bloop, bloop,
Yeah.
bloop, little challenges like that.
Love that stuff.
One where you just like go on like a hamster wheel thing and just max out speed.
Hell yeah.
Stuff
Smash
like
it
that.
up.
There's just like a lot of little, like one of them I was herding those little Coco guys to like an area, just like directing them to them. Just a lot of weird, small, but a good amount of different challenges that are pretty damn fast.
Are there challenges that have you race from one end of the map to the other?
There's like, there's get to this spot. Here's the
Nice.
time limit kind of thing.
Infamous style.
Yeah. There's some that are like, here's these blue squares or whatever. You got to go through them all. You go through them all, but sometimes you're running through them. Sometimes they're up in the air. So it's like you got to find this thing to launch you up in the air, and you're doing pilot wings, skydiving, going down, fallen Sonic style, going through them. So there's actually a good amount of variety there, and they don't drag on. So I was like, thank God. They're quick little bursts. This whole game is just quick little boom, 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 boom. Keep you going. It doesn't slow down. There's a lot of cutscenes. A lot. You can
settle
skip
into the
them.
lore.
Especially like every time there's like, let's say there's like 20 Amy things on the map.
Yeah.
Okay. Every time you talk to Amy at one of these things, there's a cutscene.
Okay.
And sometimes I would do like 4 or 5 of these in a row.
Yeah.
Just like boom, cutscene. I'm like, all right. Next one. Whoop. Okay, cutscene. All right. Just wait a little bit.
Got it.
Like I don't have to watch it, but
Yeah.
I want to know what the hell's going on. with this
Totally.
kind of
Yeah.
thing.
You don't want to skip it.
Yeah, I gotta get that lore.
Yeah.
But overall, this is a good time. You're gonna have a good time. I know you're gonna have a good time.
Pumped, dude. I'm so
If you're a
pumped.
Sonic fan, I think you're gonna have a really good time.
I was gonna play last night, but it was too
Yeah,
late.
yeah,
so
for sure.
Tonight or tomorrow, yeah.
It's like hard for me to recommend this game to everybody, because it's Sonic.
Yeah.
And I don't know like what everyone's like threshold is. My expectations are very low for this
Yeah.
game.
Forces is one of the best 5 or 6s of all time.
Okay.
Maybe a 5.
Yeah.
Best 5.
One of the best 5s of all time, I think, is Forces.
Okay, it's fair enough.
Yeah.
It's fair enough, I'd say. But yeah, I mean, I'd recommend checking it out, but you don't have to buy it day one, I would say. It's cool. If you like Sonic, you're going to have a good time.
Find this thing on sale probably for like 40.
Yo, if you get
would
this on
be
$40,
so nice.
easy recommend. Easy
Dude, that'd
recommend.
be nice. Dude, Black Friday's coming up.
Black Friday's coming
Holiday
up.
sales.
Man,
Yeah.
maybe. I guess, yeah, I'm just so curious about the feel of going through like the open world, because you said like the first
Yeah.
zone's like with Amy,
Sprinting through Damiani.
you can't like I'm assuming more environments open up in the overworld
So
at some point, like
how
you
it-
just can't really go
So how it
anywhere
is,
you can see,
Damiani,
right?
is there's different zones. They're all just really large maps.
Yeah, they're like islands, basically. Yeah.
Pretty much. That's how they are.
Do you have to load into each one?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not seamless.
No, it's not seamless. No, no,
Okay. So, yeah, my question is going to be like in each of those individual like environments, then do you feel it's a little too scattershot in terms of like how things, because you're saying like you will like build like paths to different like things or rails or whatever. Does that feel like pretty natural, or do you think there could have been a little bit more like rhyme to the reason with it?
I don't think there's like a rhyme to reason to it. It's just kind of like, because like the whole, you look at the game down, man, and everything's just goofy and floating
Okay.
around. And you're just like, whatever, dude. Like, this is the kind of game I'm in for, I guess, kind of feel.
Yeah, like a lot of those first impressions, like they still stand. It's like it
Yeah.
looks like a weird, like kind of generic-ish world
Yes.
with just like a bunch of like levels just plopped around.
That's what it
in the air.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But like at the end of it, like does that in each environment evolve to not look like that anymore? When you have like you've connected everything, does it look better or
No.
no? It doesn't. Okay.
No, yeah, no.
So in my head, I'm thinking of Bowser's Fury.
No, no, no,
How,
it's not like that.
it
It's not
keeps
like that.
unlocking and things evolve and like.
Like you do
Could it-
something like
yeah.
a rail might pop out that you can use, or like a
Oh, okay,
bridge kind
never
of thing like
mind.
that. But
Okay,
it's like,
yeah.
it's not like what you're thinking.
Because I've seen a lot of footage of like like the hamster ball, whatever, and like you do something and then like a sonar goes out and like things like rise out of the ground
So
or
like
whatever.
you would do, there's some things you would do to like progress, maybe get to an area easier than before. Like you get like a few benefits like that. Like early on, like I said, there's like a bridge you got to cross, and you do a few things and it'll make a bridge now so you can get across. But nothing like too crazy. They'll like add a rail maybe, making it so you can get to some area maybe a little easier, but nothing like Mario or anything like that.
Is there any kind of this would be an insult? The answer is yes, but is there any kind of like fast travel besides
Yes,
loading?
there is.
Oh,
I didn't bring this up, but I should. In each zone, there is a fishing spot you can go to where you
yeah,
fish
yeah.
with Big the Cat, baby. Everyone's
Okay,
Blue
okay,
Sonic, yeah.
okay.
You just fish with them. It's extremely basic, super simple. Really nice music though. I should have got some of that for a review. Damn. But you can catch a lot of fish. There's a lot of fish to catch too. I was fishing for a little bit, dude, and I feel like every time I was getting
What do they
something
give
new,
you? Besides,
you
like, what's-
get like little. So to fish, you need to collect these purple coins in the world.
Okay.
They're super easy to get. It doesn't even matter. And you spend those to fish with Big the Cat. And when you get fish, you get like a currency you can spend on a store to get some items that you could get in the world if you don't want to collect them necessarily. Like at one point later on in the game, I bought a bunch of the character items just so I could just progress through it without having to go out in the world and find them. And just some stuff like that. You can get some
Cool.
XP or whatever so you can get skills. So there's a skill tree now. You can get some new moves. Sonic, he is more capable in combat before, but it's, it's fine. It's like whatever. It's just Sonic.
Homing attack.
Kind of, yeah. You punch, stuff like that. But no, this game is super goofy. It feels very out of place a lot of times, but going through it is fun. That's the biggest thing. Like, you're going to look at this game and be like, what the hell is this game? Like, everyone kind of thought like that. But I'm like, when you start going through it, and I'm like, all right, I'm having a good time. It's kind of fitting together. It's like a weird experiment, and I hope they improve upon it in the sequels or whatever the future Sonic games are going to do.
Solid foundation for the
There
future.
is a good solid foundation. If they make the zones
So
feel
encouraging.
like Sonic zones maybe more,
Right.
that I would expect like
Yeah, if they actually make the world feel like
like
all these obstacles are a part of it, rather
Yeah.
than just like
Yeah,
weird
I
floaty
like I
bits.
slapped
yeah.
out.
I look back at like Sonic Adventure on Dreamcast.
Yeah.
And Sonic stands out like a sore thumb in like the town where there's like normal humans. Like to me, that's just normal Sonic weird disconnect that like
Yeah.
always is in the series. And I hope they can just like, if one of the zones was actually just like Green Hill Zone,
Yeah.
I'd been like, man, that would have been so much cooler.
Yeah, that's the weird thing is like when you see like those smaller individual cyber world levels,
Yeah.
it's just like I just wish the whole game looked like this,
yeah.
but it's like a lot of it is just like it's just background, like it's not actual level design. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
We got a quick write-in about Sonic Frontiers from Anthony Stevens.
What up?
Say, hi, allies. With Sonic Forces gaining general praise and positivity from the majority of critics so far, users pending at likely time of recording, they're out. And the head of Sonic Team, Takahashi Iizuka, expressing in interviews that the evolved Sonic adventure style of open zone gameplay and tone will be the template for future modern 3D games from their studio. How confident or hopeful do you feel about this, providing they can attempt to improve and evolve the formula, plus keep making a quality product moving forward? I think if they just build upon this and just like make it feel like stuff doesn't stand out as much. Because like in Sonic games, it's hard to do because you're bouncing it around so much, you're grinding so much, and you're going so fast, it's harder to do. But if they can just make that look cleaner and the zones look like more crazy, unique Sonic zones, I think that'll go a long way.
Yeah, I think they're on the right track, and so if they're gonna, keep going in this direction, I think that they have a lot of room to make improvements.
Yeah, me too. Alrighty, it is time for Huber's favorite segment, Sort It Out.
Sort it out.
Just so you know, listeners at home, this is a segment where whatever's in the game industry, someone's got to sort out. Feel free to share it. Anyone on the panel could share it. You don't have to have one if you don't have one this week, if you're not burning with anything.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm burning this week.
Maybe not burning, you're a little warm. Cooling off.
Yeah, it was cooling off. I'm cooling off.
off.
I did see some, articles about like, hey, the best PS1 classics, and it's like still the same damn games there.
We can't keep going back to that.
Can't keep going back, so I'm not really ready to sort it out.
Not quite
I'm
yet.
on cooldown.
Yeah,
for now.
Blood, you got anything annoying you?
Yeah, actually, we've been talking about this, and I don't know because I haven't seen the past sorted out discussions, but Square Enix is like treating their B tier games like D tier games. I don't know what the heck is going on. Like Harvestella did not go out to reviewers until it was out.
Nope.
And that is super weird. And we still haven't seen Tactics Ogre. I don't know if other people have gotten it. But
That's going to be a good game, too.
Yeah. Diofield, Valkyrie Elysium.
Yep.
Like, there's just been so many games recently. So many games that Square Enix is putting out to begin with.
A lot.
So I understand that they have limited resources to try to distribute these things. But it just seems so strange that they are holding back on, like Harvestella is not a short game.
Right.
Like, nobody's going to finish that game in a week, and none of these are. We're talking 20, 30 hour minimum games, and it's just, it's crazy, and like Star Ocean you got somewhat early, but still not that early, right?
Yeah, I feel like we've gotten other ones like way earlier than that. So, I mean, I feel like that would have been something that would have gotten more of a priority, but I think I'm with you that, I think they just maybe don't have enough people, even with all the PR people they've contracted. It's just like, you do that many games in that short, someone saying it was like 12 games in like a 3-month period. It's like, yikes, that's like, who's ever done that before? That's like insane. And they're not like the AAA games, but still, like, they feel like they may have had a better chance if they had a better plan of attack for them, and maybe to spread them out a little bit. I mean, we don't know the internal workings, but something that seemed like such a positive, like, wow, we're gonna be feasting on Square Enix games and the return of these like B tier games that, like, where have they gone to? And now it's like they're not getting a chance to breathe. They're not getting that support. And if we find out in the report none of these performed to expectations, like, well, what do you expect? Like, look what you did with your release window plans and your marketing plans.
Well, and in the midst of this, right, like Harvestella just sort of coming out without any support on the press side, really. And then at the same time, here's our giant blog on Octopath Traveler 2, and it's just like, hey, wait a minute, you got time for that? I don't understand.
Yeah, I feel like definitely clear where the budget is going, because you have that. You have them talking about like their upcoming 2023 stuff. I mean, because with Octo
Forspoken,
but also even like Crisis Core. It's gotten a decent amount, but I actually think it's gotten less than I think it would have gotten. I think it would have gotten a little bit harder of a push by now. I mean, maybe now it's like it's about a month away. Maybe they still have time to do something about that.
Yeah.
It's December. Yeah, beginning of December.
It's like 13th, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the most recent thing got me excited was the HUD is apparently the menu interface is literally lifted from FF7 Remake. So it's like nice and clean and like stylistic like that.
Nice.
So yeah, it's like, well, like talk to me more about that. I know, I mean, it's a whole game. We've already played a lot of it. There's, you know, you have a little bit more leeway here, but also maybe that's what they're relying on. It's like, oh, FF7 name. You've been anticipating this. Maybe we don't need to put as much emphasis on that. But December's kind of like that, kind of like pitfall area for releases. If you're not a AAA release, December you could just kind of like fall into a void. And like I do have small reservations about Crisis Core coming out that late into the year.
I mean, the nice thing with Crisis Core, at least, is it's on its own. Like there's not a whole lot else releasing right then.
Callisto Protocol.
Yeah, like you'll be finished with that game.
Dragon Quest Treasures like 3 days before or something.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest being right on top of
that's
it.
a Switch exclusive versus multi-platform release.
That game's probably
which is funny because on the coming soon page on the eShop for Nintendo, Dragon Quest Treasures absolutely at the end of it on there. No Crisis Core anywhere on that.
They don't care.
They're like multi-platform.
They're not getting.
Get out of here.
They're not getting remake, so they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, you know, with Forspoken in January and then 16 in the summer, and you know, possible other stuff next year. I think they just, you know, there's so much writing on Forspoken. They have been doing a lot with that. I think most of the focus has been just going to Forspoken at this point.
Yeah, probably because it's the most expensive one too.
Yeah. It makes sense, but still would have been, you know, nice to see because like a new Valkyrie Elysium. Just a shame to see, you know, it, you know, kind of come and go really quickly. And, you know, Dio Field was like, you know, a nice game, but like, and then like they're doing so much to support tactics games, but it's like Triangle Strategies, like, I mean, definitely a better game, but
much better.
They got so much more promotion and coverage that you could see why it did so much better.
Yeah. It's just Triangle Strategy is a much better game
Nah.
than a lot of those. Triangle Strategy is a really good game, actually. Play it. Speaking of Square Enix Blood, great thing to bring up. This is from Conrad. He said, sort it out. Square Enix, just stop fucking around with NFTs and make a new Parasite Eve already. I'm tired of waiting for the best survival horror / JRPG crossover to make a comeback. The original game even bears the seeds of what you are doing with FF7 Remake Combat and has one of the greatest soundtracks of all time. You have the rights, just make it happen, sort it out. I don't know if they have the right to the name. Parasite Eve.
Because it's not their thing; it's a book or something.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah, it's based on something. They're not. It's not an actual adaptation, but like it's based on something. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It'll come.
Yeah.
Give it time. It'll come.
I think it's why it might have been called the third
100%.
birthday.
Yes,
for the Parasite
yeah.
Eve 3.
Now for the complete opposite, we have Keep It Up, which is, hey, who's doing something good in the industry? Something you appreciate going on.
Oh.
Keep It Up. The exact opposite. You're like,
Keep it up, Capcom.
Keep it
Keep
up.
it up.
There you go. Keep It Up.
Yeah, reverse. Keep it up.
Yeah.
I gave up pretty much. Yeah. They missed
You
it.
didn't get to try the new thing?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep It Up.
They gave us a solution, but I'm like, this is a weird solution.
Yeah.
Like if you redeem another code, it'll work. I'm like, most people can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, how is this the fix?
Ridiculous.
Usually if people write in for this too. We only got one this time though. I did post this late though, so I could say we were talking about Sonic.
Okay.
But it's from Alexander Zirinoff.
Nice.
So get ready for this. This is a Keep It Up and also a backhanded comment.
Oh, that was,
Keep It Up. According to Huber's review of God of War Ragnarok, is a safe sequel to 2018's title.
Oh, God.
I infamously found the first game immediately forgettable. So now I can be certain that this new entry is not for me either and save myself from a disappointing purchase. Meanwhile, everyone who loved the first game and wanted more are getting exactly that, which is also wonderful. It's great to know exactly what you're getting when you're buying full price game. Keep it up, gaming industry, with re-releasing safe but good follow-ups. So yeah, I guess keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up.
I like follow-ups.
There's nothing wrong with follow-up. It's time for some shout-outs. On every episode, we give some shout-outs to our most generous, or some of our most generous Patreon supporters. If you would like to join us on Patreon, we would greatly appreciate it. Please visit patreon.com/easyallies, the lifeblood of this company. It's how we're kept afloat by awesome patrons like all you out there. We greatly appreciate it. Also, if you're listening to this on a podcast service, please leave us a good review if you're enjoying the show, or comment all that good stuff on the YouTube video. Comment, like, ring that damn bell. You got to do it. We got to do it.
Gotta do it.
It helps us out, so we would appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, shout-outs are Jabba Wobs, Elthanis, Greg the Dark Knight Kettering, and Anna Croth. Hubert, give me a Sonic the Hedgehog shout-out.
Shout out!
Rev, dude.
There it is.
That is
Nice.
hilarious, man. All right, Blood, this game, I've been curious about it. It's usually not my type of game. I'm not usually like super hyped on it, but I think the hideous character designs of this game got me interested, and that is The Case of the Golden Idol.
Yeah, so I picked this up last weekend, and it was funny because I wrote a little bit about it in my fan mail to the fan mail patrons, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll do it, don't skip. And then I was starting to think about it. I was like, okay, A, I didn't capture, and then B, I'm like, wait, any time I show this game, I'm spoiling some solution of something. So it's kind of impossible. It's probably why, like, when we talked about, we had a trailer bet on a podcast a while back, and it was like, oh, it was all zoomed in. All you could see was the art. It's because anytime you see the rest of it, you're going to be seeing something that's the solution. But yeah, so basically, like, think of it as like a murder mystery puzzle game.
Yes.
Not even like a traditional adventure game. The design is very different than that, because you don't control a character. You don't walk around.
Oh.
You're literally like there with your mouse, and you have a scene, or you like might have a house, and you can like look at different rooms in the house, and you're just like looking at this snapshot in time.
Oh. Okay.
And there's essentially a Mad Lib page.
Okay.
It's like there's like a structure of like a couple of paragraphs, but like all the key terms are like fill in the blank. And so what you have to do is you have to look around, and you're like, you can look in people's pockets, you can look in desk drawers, you can look in vaults and in trash cans, and listen to what people are saying. And when you do that, whatever there is, sometimes there will be these keywords that when you click on them, then they'll pop into your inventory, and you just have like an inventory of words. And so like there'll be first and last names, there'll be verbs, there'll be items, and then you essentially your goal is to fill in all those blanks correctly. And I think there are some variations that are like you can maybe use
a little wiggle room,
a little bit of wiggle room, but for the most part, you're trying to solve the mystery with the words that you collect. And part of getting to that step, there are also these other boxes in each chapter that you sort of have to figure out as well. And so there'll be like, okay, you have everybody's faces, but you have to deduce from the conversations, from the scene, who is who. You have to like say, okay, this guy's using this name, and it seems like he's talking to this guy. It's like, okay, that's this guy's first name. Okay, what is his last name? I don't. But you see, like, oh, he's got like a monogrammed handkerchief. It's like, okay, the last name starts with a C or whatever. And like you put that. So like, okay, first step, identify who is who, and then identify, try to figure out like, okay, who did what, who killed him,
Yeah.
But then there's like also these other steps, and like there'll be times where as I got deeper into the game, and I'd be just like, I know it. I don't have the verbs. I need more verbs. Where are the verbs to tell the story? But it's like, but no, it's like once I eventually got there, it was like, no, I was missing something. It's like this guy did something, but this other guy also did something.
Gotcha.
And trying to
Gotcha,
figure
bud.
out where people were at certain times. There was another one where it's like, I was just like assuming the wrong thing. And so like I was just trying to identify like, basically what people were wearing. And it was like, it wasn't like none of them are right. What do you mean? Oh, that's the other thing that's important is that like with these little side things, when you fill in the blanks, once you get close, it'll tell you that like less than 2 are incorrect.
Oh.
And so
okay.
then you can kind of like sort of like do some deduction
Yeah.
and figure out like, okay, is it this? Is it this? Is which part of this thing is wrong? And then once you've got everything filled out, and it's like, okay, you've gotten this page right. Now figure out another page. But there'll be things like figuring out like, okay, who was seated where at the table, and then you're like looking at like, okay, who drank what and who who ate what, and like what had they, like there's some letters like, oh, this person doesn't eat meat, and so you can figure out like, okay, well, there's 2 people here that only have salads, so which one of them, was sitting where?
Always love those
Yeah.
Yeah.
types of puzzles.
Definitely, something that plays well with a mouse, of course. 'Cause
Yes.
it's like clicking
Right.
a lot. One nice thing that they do is to keep you from just like pixel hunting and click on everything. By default, they'll just put like little like red dots on things. So if you can interact with something, they'll have
Okay.
a blinking dot, and if you've already clicked on it, it'll like be like
Letting you
less
know.
pronounced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's also a pretty good hint system.
I was going to ask you about this. Like, how
Yeah.
difficult is it to get through some of these things?
Yeah, I mean, they can be pretty difficult,
But it's not like, from what I've heard, like old adventure games where it's just like, that solution felt very out of nowhere,
Right.
obtuse kind of thing.
because it's not about like making an object interact with something.
Mm-hmm.
It is about figuring out
Literally just putting the pieces together.
what people are doing and where people were, and like you'll see like this guy had like a roster of goons he could hire to do this robbery, and you figure out which goon it was based on like what he told some other person to go where he told him to go meet him at, that kind of thing. But no, with the hint system, so you basically like sort of buy a hint at a time.
Oh, okay.
But the way you purchase a hint is you have to prove you're paying attention.
oh,
And so you'll have a list of words, and then you have a bunch of objects and faces and stuff.
amazing.
And you've got to match the words to the objects and faces.
Love
And if
that.
you can't match them, then you can't get a hint. So you got to go back and pay attention.
okay. That's cool.
And
I like it.
and you get one hint at a time, and I think there might be like 4 hints per chapter. But what's nice is I felt like the hints were actually really valuable, like and really written well in a way that they put me exactly where I needed to be without actually telling me
Yeah.
what the answer is.
Cool.
So it was really nice. And another thing I think is really cool is my first impressions of this game, and even the first couple of chapters, I felt like they're just like a bunch of random murder mysteries, and they didn't have any connections. But as you get deeper in, you start to see it as like, oh no, all of this stuff is tied together.
Okay.
And there's like even like kind of like a bonus epilogue at the end where you sort of like piece those pieces together, and you kind of like have to look through past chapters to do that.
Would Hubert approve of these crime scenes?
I think so.
Okay.
I think, yeah, there's some pretty good
Serial
stuff.
killer.
And then what else was I saying there? Yeah, like having that kind
Connective.
of that through line. And then when you go back and you look at the earlier chapters, it kind of shows you just how gradually the complexity is ramped up. So when you go back and you look at the first couple things, you're like, there was like
Simple.
nothing to that.
Yeah.
Like when I know the solution, when I've done these other solutions, it's like these first ones look really easy, even though I had to work it out at the time.
This isn't the one I played, right?
It might be.
Yeah, I think it is, right?
I get it confused
It
with
was like
Pentiment.
1700s.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Yeah.
old school pixel
Totally.
art.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, and everyone's
Cool game.
Yeah, everyone's sort of
what I thought.
fighting over the inheritance and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
Fun, bud, fun.
Blood, you've
So fun.
also been playing a little small game, a little to the left.
Yeah.
Tell me about this. This seems like a game that just like scratches an itch for some people.
Yeah, a little bit shorter. So, Case of
yeah.
the Golden Idol
looks so
is
fun.
it's like
This
it's like
one's out, Blood?
7 whatever hours long. Yeah, Low to the Left came out yesterday. Came out Monday. But yeah, I played through it this weekend.
Sick.
It's I'd say 3 to 4 hours long.
Nice.
And if you're not familiar with it, it has some of the same vibes as Unpacking, to where you have like a lot of organizational puzzles. And so the very first one that you do is like
so
there's a picture
satisfying.
frame that's just tilted. So you straighten the picture frame. You've solved the puzzle. But a very nice like art style, like kind of pastel style. And you might be like arranging books in a bookshelf according to height, or you might be like arranging pencils. And it's like, okay, what and a lot of times it's like, part of the puzzle is figuring out like what the organization is. And so like there's one where it's got like a pile of seashells. Like, what am I supposed to do with a pile of seashells, right? Because it's just it doesn't
Demolition
The
Man.
3D
dude.
seashells.
But
That's what I was thinking of.
it ends up feeling sort of like a bouquet, towards like you kind of like create like this symmetrical like
Shape out of it.
yeah, like not even really a shape, but just like it all like
Alignment, I guess. or
aligns
like,
up
yeah.
together and feels good.
There's a seashell in the bathroom in Cyberpunk. Damiani. It's a reference.
nod.
Yeah.
There'll be like stacks of papers. There's this is another one that's good to play with the mouse. Like it has controller support, but
Yeah.
it's nice to just like use
Unpacking. Yeah. Same. Yeah. Vibes. Yeah.
You straighten like NES cartridges.
Cool.
in one of
I
them that's
remember
in
that
there.
It's in the trailer, I think, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
that one's in the trailer.
It's a good
for
shot. It's
Sure.
a crowd-pleasing shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's one where you like one of the early ones where you basically just take all the cat toys and like put them in the basket.
Oh,
So
okay.
fun. Dude, I can't believe this came out. I'm so hyped on this, bud.
Yeah, and then as you get into it, like different chapters kind of have different themes. So one of them is like a food chapter,
Nice.
and you do a bunch
Oh,
of
okay.
puzzles that are like related to food.
Unpacking had a story, a moving story, like literally and figuratively. Does this?
I don't think that there's really anything that I could glean from that. In
That
terms
really
of the
helps.
story.
That like Unpacking is awesome as it is, but like that really tipped it over the edge, I think, and
Yeah.
made it something special. That
You
story
do
was
have
actually something-
the cat that shows up every once in a
Nice.
while. Every so often, the cat will come and they'll just knock everything that you just did out of place.
Yep.
And there's
Perfect.
some puzzles with the cat that come up later on. But like there's a battery box, there's a silverware drawer, there's a junk drawer, which this one was crazy because it was just like burnt candles and batteries and tape and a tape and like a tape measure and like all of this stuff to like put into the junk drawer. And it's like, how am I going to figure out where this all fits? And yeah, it's not super hard.
Yeah.
And the hint system there is interesting because when you look at it, you basically like have the solution, but it's been scribbled out, and you take an eraser and you just start erasing a little bit. It's like, okay, I've seen enough. Let me go
Nice.
from there. The other thing that's interesting is that some of the puzzles have alternate solutions.
Ooh, that's fun.
And
brute
so-
force it.
What's that?
Yeah,
Brute force it.
Yeah.
When there's more than one solution.
But it's like you don't have to do those right away, and like it actually is like every time you solve a puzzle, just like it just brings in the next one.
Yeah.
So it's not really until you finish the game that you then go back and it's like, okay, which ones had alternate ones? And some of them is like, okay, I see what you did. There's this solution 1, solution 2, solution 3, and then other ones I'm just like, excuse me, what? Like, because I thought it was just going to be like, oh, arrange them from like shortest to tallest, and then tallest to shortest. And then I did tallest to shortest, and it was like, no, that's the same solution as the last one. I'm like, oh, so what am I missing? And so the hints don't help you out on some of the alternate solutions, but
Cool.
I kind of like that. I think there's a little bit more to
Yeah,
go
this
back
game
to.
sounds strangely relaxing.
Yeah, it's totally one of those. It's
Cool.
very relaxing. It's again, it's something you can get through in a night.
Cool.
And then go back for the extra ones. And there's also this little thing called the Daily Tidy.
Dailies, dude.
That is a good name.
And so every day you'll go in and they've like somehow figured out how to procedurally generate
Oh, that's funny.
alternate versions of some of these puzzles.
A daily tidy.
So it's like you'll know the puzzle from when you did it in the main game, but then it's like, okay,
Remix.
now I've got to figure
Yeah.
out what exactly the solution
Excellent.
is for this version. Yeah, this
Cool.
version of the puzzle.
Very.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
Sign me
I
up.
want to check it out.
Sign me up.
All right, it's time for some emails.
Mm-hmm.
If you would like to send an email to us or a comment, please join us on Patreon, as we said earlier. But we would appreciate it and loved hearing from y'all.
I've only played a little bit of Marvel Snap and Modern Warfare. Maybe next time, viewers.
All right, this is from Johnny Can't Dance. Hey, Brad, first
Great
time
name.
posting on here, and we love what you're doing with the show. Hey, thanks. I'm moving to Australia next month, and unfortunately won't be bringing my PC or PS5 with me. Ooh. Have you guys got any suggestions for games on the Switch that not everyone may have heard of? I've played all the big ones and will be looking for meaty ones that I can sink a lot more time into. Also, doubtful if any of you have suggestions here, but I also have a MacBook, so Mac-friendly games on Steam recommendations are welcome too. StarCraft 2 on Mac?
On Mac, probably, yeah.
Because they usually do Mac support.
Yeah.
Blizzard does.
Yeah. Is Rogue Legacy 1 on Switch? Because I know 2 is not yet.
I don't know, Huber. I'm not sure.
I'm going to look it up.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Any of your Switch recommendations, y'all, or PC?
I mean, we were just talking about Harvestella, but we haven't played it, so it's
Hard to say. Yeah.
it's hard to say.
I mean, technically, Sonic Frontiers is technically on
That's
Switch.
true.
Yeah.
Dude, I love this game. I don't know if it's the best, like if you're traveling or not, but dude, I love Snipper Clips. That game's old, but I love that game.
It's a co-op game.
That game
Keep
was
that in
so
mind.
sick, dude. I had so much fun with Snipper Clips, dude.
Sarah loves Snipper Clips. Love Damiani playing Snipper Clips.
Breaking the game.
Maniac, yeah.
Breaking the game.
Rogue Legacy 1 is on Switch. That is my recommendation.
Okay, it is.
sure, yeah, that's a
2 is
great.
not, 2 is not out there yet. Also, is Darkest Dungeon on Switch?
Oh, I think that might
because those
be
are my
on
top
Switch.
2 recommendations. Boom. That's hours and hours and hours. Yep,
But,
on Switch.
Great
There you go.
Is Loop Hero on there on Switch?
Loop
Probably
Hero.
I think that was PC only.
Yeah, I
it
think
is.
that was PC only for now.
I was thinking like that small screen
yeah.
and handheld mode.
Yeah.
wouldn't
Pretty
really work
well-known
too
game, but Shovel Knight Treasure Trove's on
Oh,
there,
yeah.
and that plays good on
Loop
handheld.
Hero's on Switch.
Oh,
it
okay.
is?
Loop
There you
Hero.
go.
Loop Hero was cool.
Very, dude, a lot of good ones.
Yeah, lots of good little games.
Guacamelee maybe on Switch.
I think so.
Yeah.
Guacamelee is cool.
Guacamelee.
Severed's on there. I never played that, but you
Severed's-
liked that.
yeah, Severed's
Yeah, I played
cool.
it a little bit of the Switch version. That's an interesting one because it's touchscreen.
Yeah,
So
'cause
it
it was a Vita
only
game.
plays on the handheld. mode.
Yeah,
you can't
it was
play
a
it with
Vita
a
game
controller or
originally.
anything. Yeah.
Cool. Anything, Damiani? Anything small in the indie space, maybe?
I mean, maybe after this week.
Oh yeah,
there might
they're
be
having
some
an
announcements.
indie thing.
Oh,
too,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many games. It's hard to
Yeah,
keep
there's
up
a
with,
lot.
with all that we could recommend.
But, dude, honestly,
Triangle Strategy.
Oh yeah.
that's on
Yeah.
PC also now. On
Yeah, it's on
Steam.
PC now,
That
but
game's
it's-
sick,
Get
dude.
that on Switch.
Play that game. But I think Rogue Legacy is a really great recommendation. So is Darkest Dungeon.
It's a lot of hours.
It's a lot of hours, a lot of
those.
good game time. They're probably
And
pretty
Darkest-
cheap,
Darkest
too.
Dungeon, super hardcore. Rogue Legacy, challenging, but like
Pretty chill, though.
pretty chill. Chill game. So you got a
Pretty
chill,
chill.
a chill grind and a hardcore grind.
Yep. Pretty damn chill. Okay, this next question is from Felipe Fonesca. Hi, Brad. Will 2023 be the year that the new generation really begins? With all the 30 FPS cross-gen remasters and Switch in the last 2 years, when will we get new gen games? A lot of respect. I thought we were on the way when we got Ratchet and Clank last year.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, PS5 exclusive.
Demon Souls.
Demon Souls, yeah, we started off kind of hot. Then it's just like weird mix-ups. Like, I know the world's been going through a weird time itself, so it makes sense, I guess. But I'm ready, man.
The 30 FPS is the sign that you're getting them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
You lose the 60 frames because this
Well,
is made for new consoles.
Gotham Knights is a whole other mess on its
Yeah,
own.
yeah, that's a whole thing.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah, hopefully next year we'll start getting more of that. It's like I would say Resident Evil 4, but psych, that's cross-gen also.
Suicide Squad, hopefully, is like really
Yeah.
next gen.
Yeah.
Because Arkham Knight still is one of the best looking
a great
video
looking
games
game,
ever
yeah.
made, and it is so old now.
16, I think, will be hopefully a big moment
Yeah.
where it feels like, yo,
Yeah, the first Unreal Engine 5 games are gonna.
Kingdom Hearts 4, is that?
no, it's not next year. Damn it. You're going to get Rebirth before that, Final 7. That'll be before Kingdom Hearts. So that, I mean, that could be next year. I doubt it, but who knows?
Yeah.
This is winter.
I feel like
Yeah.
Dragon Quest 12 will be freaking next gen.
That's
dude.
gonna be on Switch probably, dude.
Yeah,
That's gonna be on Switch.
I'm like,
It's
Yeah,
compromised.
that's gonna be on Switch
All right,
100%,
That was just
man.
wishful thinking.
I know. I wish to, but
uh-huh.
the Switch is dominant in Japan.
But yeah, I mean,
Right,
hardware,
that's pretty much it.
you know, supplies are
Picking up.
caught up, or not caught up, but catching up. And
Yeah, I really
I
hope.
think we'll see a lot more. Of
I
that
really hope
stuff
God of
next
War
year.
is like Sony's last.
Yeah, like will Last of Us multiplayer, will that feel just like
Sure.
across gen
Right.
Sure,
thing? You know,
yeah.
they've
Yeah, I'm
hyped
not
it
sure
up
how
like
much
it's-
we'll be able to see the difference with multiplayer.
Yeah,
stuff
I
in
would say
general.
I don't know if multiplayer game is the first game to
Yeah.
really do that.
Well,
you know what I bet will
everything they're
be?
saying about it.
No, I take it
Dead
back.
Space remake is only new gen.
That's correct, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Current gen only. So maybe, I guess. I don't know.
Whereas Callisto's cross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like Zelda ain't next gen. No way.
When's the next Doom game?
Next Doom game, we have no idea.
Yeah,
No
we
idea.
haven't heard anything
That'll
about that.
be.
Yeah. Yo, Indiana Jones, dude.
Oh, Indiana
yeah.
Jones.
Machine Games.
I'm hyped for that game, dude.
Oh my god, it's gonna be incredible.
I hope it's not. I hope you're not as crazy violent as.
no,
Wolfenstein.
you won't be.
Yeah.
You won't be. You won't be.
Is the
That's like the max, dude.
Not that I got a
Wolfenstein.
problem with-
Yeah.
Jones getting
Maybe.
some frags.
is the
but
Fallen Order sequel?
I believe that's current gen only. I'm not
Yeah.
sure though, but I believe it is.
What about Spider-Man 2?
I believe that's PS5 only. Also,
Yeah,
but-
that one's a far way out.
Sony's like
Yeah, that's
lineup. We
far.
don't know a lot about what's
Wolverine,
coming.
That'll
Yeah.
be next.
Well,
gen.
Spider-Man
Yeah.
they said was next year, but that was a while ago when we saw that. So who
Yeah.
knows? But yeah, hopefully next year we'll start seeing some stuff that's really pushing
You know what no one has said?
for Spoken.
No, because I'm just I'm a little doubt. Starfield.
Well, that's gonna be on
Exactly.
Well, actually, I don't know if that's on 360.
Well, because
Or
it
one.
just
I don't think it is actually.
everything
Wait, on
about
what?
it.
On 360?
Yeah, I said
Xbox
one
Oh,
after
yeah,
that.
yeah. Oh, sorry.
Everything about it, the marketing has been like, "Yo, it's the future, Starfield. Like, this is it. This is gonna change games. Like, this is you're going to space. and all this, and
Maybe
it's like
in some ways, maybe I'm hoping. A lot of ways, it already looks like no.
yeah.
Let's say that. But hopefully, there's some stuff where I'm like,
Yeah.
damn. Okay, Todd.
Starfield.
Never know with Todd though.
What are you up to, Tango?
Well, they just did.
I swear.
Yeah, they just did
This
Ghostwire.
year.
What are
you up
you
to
up
now,
to?
Ghostwire's gonna be coming to Game Pass though, right?
Yeah, in a year
Yeah.
probably from the release, just like Deathloop.
Yep.
So get a second life there.
Yeah. What are you up to? What are you working on?
What are you working on? All right, this is from the champ. This will be the final email. Hey allies, after playing the Shattered Rose DLC, I think that's the most terrified I've been in a game. It was only a small section, but my heart rate increased for sure. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Legendary
just
section.
wow.
yeah.
Every other part of the DLC, I felt no fear at all. Anyway, my question to everyone, which type of horror do you prefer? The type of horror where you are defenseless and your only option is running, or the type where you can fight back? I prefer the type of horror where you can fight back. That's why I never got into the Outlast series.
Yep.
Yeah, I like fighting back a little.
I like fight back.
I think
but I love both.
There's effective moments though where you can't fight back. It can be effective for sure.
Yeah, I'll always prefer fighting back. Shinji Mikami's philosophy: give the player just enough to be able to fight back. That is my absolute favorite design.
I think of like Nemesis, from the
Yep.
original. It's like you could fight back,
Yeah.
but it's gonna cost you.
it's gonna cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna cost.
It's gonna cost.
I mean,
quite a bit.
obviously, when you know the game super well, you can do it. But I'm just saying, like in
Yeah.
Mr. X, and Remake 2, it's like you can stop him for a little bit.
Yeah.
That's it though. You
the hell
can't
out
kill
of
him.
Dodge.
Yeah, get the hell out of it. You can shoot his hat off. That's about it.
But I
Yeah.
also the other side like Outlast scares me the most. Straight up.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
At the end of the day, like the jumps, because it's really hard to scare me psychologically in a game. Slow burn horror will disturb me probably, and I'll think about it, but it's not like scary really. But those jump scares, I mean, you can call them cheap and you can call them unfair, but like that stuff is effective, and that'll get me the most. So for me, it's Outlast and stuff.
Then VR too. Bump that factor. Yeah. Play alone.
Yeah.
VR.
Yeah.
Headphones on. Whew, you're there.
Yeah.
Good. Like I'll never forget RE7 in VR. Good
Yeah,
lord.
that was spooky. That was
Good
spooky.
lord.
Yeah, I definitely think that, Mr. X and RE2 remake, one of the scariest things that I have to deal with.
Yeah,
and
it was
I
great.
think that, like, even games that are not necessarily horror games, right? Like a Souls game or another type of adventure game
Sure.
where it's like you come across something and you look over and you're like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
Like, I do not want to fight that thing.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's, with Mr. X, like, he's one of those moments.
Yeah,
You know? Or
you don't
like
wanna-
the first
you don't
time you
wanna
come
miss.
across a liquor, it's like one of, can I deal with this? You know?
That's a fun feeling, Blood. Can I deal with this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even just like the fact that you have that safe room where it's like you're
The relief.
safe, but you can hear him walking around the
Skulking
whole
around.
freaking time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, just let me,
so good.
just let me walk out of here.
Thump, thump.
What about you, Dumb Annie? Anything you
Dude.
like in horror?
Liquors in Remake 2. Before I knew the cheese.
The door
The
cheese.
door cheese. Before I knew the
Freaking door cheese,
that's to remove their teeth completely. That like the sneaking past because you need
Yeah.
like one wrong sound. And then if you like left like a zombie alive by accident, it like just starts walking at
Yeah.
you from another
Everything
direction. Like,
crumbles.
those choices you got to make in those split seconds. It's like, oh no, here we go. We have some
Dude,
fun.
Damiani, we gotta we gotta do Evil Within 2, dude. Because we did 1, we gotta do 2.
Oh,
I did
yeah.
too.
So
Yeah.
hyped for
I
that one.
am hoping dearly that they leave in Salazar's pet in Remake 4.
Well, we saw
'Cause
two
one-
of them. The two guys?
No, the dude who you have to freeze.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the dudes.
we saw
That's
him.
one of his two guys.
Oh
right?
yeah,
The
but
Verdugos. or
Verdugo,
whatever
but
they
isn't he like a special version? Those are the two because they show up later, don't
They're
they?
in the castle.
Yeah,
One
but
of them,
like,
you've had one
yeah,
with different
yeah.
at times, different times.
Yeah.
oh, I thought they both were at the part with the Donkey Kong part. Like
No,
one throws
no,
them,
no,
so it's
no.
just one of them goes
One at a
at you.
time.
One at a
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Okay, so I always misunderstood
But
that. then. Learned something
we
new
saw
today.
them in the remake, so maybe the
But
counter
yeah,
would be
but the
same.
sequence.
The sequence
like,
is terrifying.
It's
good.
just because like you don't. Especially we don't know about the RPG yet. You're
Yep.
just like,
Yeah.
what the hell? I can't stop this dude. Freeze him? Okay, cool. Oh no, he's thawing out. What the hell?
So
and like,
sick.
oh, come on, door, open up. And you're like, small little room, just like you have to like because it's not that hard. All you can literally just stand still and keep hitting buttons to dodge like the
Yeah.
prompt. But like that tense situation,
Yeah.
and it's forcing so much chaos. You just can't think straight. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
I remember
Yeah.
the very first time I played, I was using my knowledge of Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I was like, how can I shatter this thing? I need to shatter it.
Dude,
Just gonna get back together.
that encounter reminds me of one of the most terrifying encounters for me every time. Mental damage every time. The Last of Us Part 1,
Oh yeah.
down below with the generator,
God, the generator.
where you're separated.
Legendary.
Legendary moment of stress. Get that door open.
Yeah.
You gotta move. There's freaks everywhere.
Yeah.
Good lord.
Boomer comes in.
Boomer coming in. Good, oh god.
Gotta get the key, gotta turn
Oh
the power
my God,
on.
dude, it's so stressful.
You gotta get a variety of enemies. They're
Yeah.
up, they're down,
Yeah.
they're in the dark. Oh,
Yeah, such a good encounter.
legendary.
Damn. All right, that is gonna do it for this episode of Frame Trap. Thank you everyone for joining me and talking games. Lots of good stuff. We'll be back again about a week and a half, or every other week the show comes on, so we'll be back then. Once again, check us out on patreon.com/easyallies if you'd like to support us. We'd appreciate it. And we will see you all next time. Bye.